Good morning, Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I am fine. What do we want to talk about today? We'll talk a little NFL playoffs. And then there's some stuff I want to share about like the corruption of the government as far as like lying, which they are very adept at. So there was a article I read last night in like Google, and JP Morgan is predicting this wonderful everything's fine, don't worry about it. Let's see. Yeah, we can talk a little economics too. So let's go to the football first. We'll get into our other little, our broad band of topics in the Teaser King world here. All right, so football. What do we have? Kansas City, 8.5, 52.5 starts us off. No change. We've got Philly 7.5, 48.5, no change. Buffalo 5.5 for some reason, up from 4.5. Hard to believe this, and 48.5. And in San Francisco down to 3, now 3.5, 45.5. Let's see if we can find a 3 in this mess. 3.5, 4, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. Funny how all the markets do the same thing, which means they're not markets. So in other words, it went down to 3, now it jumped back to 3.5. There's a 4. What the fuck's going on? Buffalo 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 5. There's a 5, 5.5. There's a 5. Why do they all follow the leaders? Is my question. So you have a little bit of line change in Buffalo going to 5.5. Now, verifying the why, I came up with there's a few offensive linemen injured for Cincinnati. So I guess they're stupid enough to believe that Joe Burrow doesn't know that, right? Obviously, he knows the linemen are injured. So obviously, you change your play calling, you change your blocking schemes. The reserves are coming in, are fucking pros. They're going to be fine. Buffalo really doesn't have anybody to worry about anyway on defense. As the way they handled Miami and New England, they can't stop the wind anyway. So are they really does that matchup really matter? And I don't think it does. But let's give credit to the Cincinnati backups. Everybody's got backups playing now. It's not like Cincinnati's the only team with offensive lineman injuries. So it's really freaking stupid. The line's 5.5. The weather, now, coming from my girlfriend in Ukraine, we get their weather 2 days later. Today's Thursday. Nice and warm out. So it'll be warm here on Saturday and Sunday, and the game is Sunday in Buffalo. So it'll be very warm, not to worry about the cold weather, which I love the over even more. So this is a very strange line movement. Also, the Niners went from 4 to 3 and then quickly jumped to 3.5. Don't understand what that's about. That sounds like manipulation and bullshit. That sounds like Madoff lowering the line so somebody could lay 3, and then they quickly raise the line back to 3.5. I don't know what that's about. I like the Niners at 10, so I don't, 4-3. They're gonna kill them. Dallas doesn't have a team. They don't have a quarterback and they don't have a coach. What are they gonna? Oh, you want to take 3.5 points in Dallas straight? I mean, go be my guest. We're in the teaser world. We get points, so you love it even more. So, not a lot to add from yesterday, but we'll review it. So, KC 8.5. I think it's a little high because of the way Jacksonville seems to come back against Baltimore, and they came back against. They came back last week against San Diego, so it's really mysterious. Well, it's basically 5-yard offense, right? Trevor Lawrence throws 5-yard passes. That's all it is. A little bit of running, tatting, and a little dinks and dunks down the field. So it's a real, high school offense, sort of like the Bears where they run a lot. Lawrence under pressure, can't do shit. Yeah, he beat San Diego playing. They didn't blitz him in the second half and didn't play. They played not to lose. They played cover 2 deep and let him complete all the short passes, which they didn't do in the first half. So, you got to really fire these San Diego coaches for being for whatever they did in the first half to get away from it. When you got 4 interceptions and you shut them out, is ridiculous. So, but Kansas City doesn't have the defense San Diego does. So I don't see. I see 8.5 being. I think KC gets way up, and then Jacksonville does a little 5-yard dinks because KC will play not to lose, and KC will give them the 5 yards, which is all Lawrence can do anyway. It's a lot like Tagliabue in that they can only throw these little 5-yard passes. They can't handle blitzes, and they throw too many interceptions. So I like the over in the game because of that. I think 8.5 too much. 2.5 maybe should be good. I don't see KC losing this game. That's what I got on this game. I think the 8.5 is too. Hey, Phil, looks like the Chargers can their OC. Well, why aren't they canning their DC also, who gave up the 31 points in the second half when he shut them out in the first half? Why did he change defenses? Also, was it really the OC's fault or was it the coach's fault? I had to can the coach and both coordinators and bring in somebody that's actually a football coach. Because I think the coach has to go. I think he's responsible. He's the scapegoat. Why is the OC gone? He put up 27 points in the first half. Okay, he should have ran Eckler the second time they got down there instead of throwing 3 passes and kicking a field goal. That it bothers me. But what did they do in the second half? Jacksonville had long drives because they switched defenses. Instead of staying right on them, they let them catch the little 5-yard passes and drive down the field. So they had long drives, 8 or 9 minutes. So they didn't. San Diego, they missed a field goal. They kicked a field goal. They stopped giving the ball to Eckler. They stopped playing. I mean, as I say, when you watch Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, did Georgia come out in the championship game with a 38-7 lead and stop playing? No, they got all the way up to 60. They kept playing like it was 0-0. So tell me why San Diego did not keep playing like it was 0-0. Why did they play like it was 27-0? We're going to play a prevent defense, and we're going to just 3 plays and punt because we're just going to run up the middle. I mean, this is where the art of war comes in, and this is what you have to understand about life. Anything you want, finance, gold, football, girls, boom, strengths and weaknesses. And that's what you find, strengths and weaknesses. So in this instance, San Diego should have known their strength and should have known Jacksonville's weakness. And when they needed the plays, they should have went to Jacksonville's weakness, which your strength is Herbert, little play action pass, give the ball to Eckler. That's your strength, and you got away from it. 3 plays punt, missed field goal. What the fuck was that play calling? And you dominated them in the first half, so you knew all their weaknesses. So why did you get away from it? And then you lose the game. Why would you? How could you lose the game like that? So that's the point. So the defensive coordinator should be fired because he switched, right? You got 4 picks and you shut him out in the first half. Why did you change your defense? So again, that's a big problem. Where was the blitz on Lawrence? Tennessee showed you if you blitz him. He did nothing in the fourth quarter against Tennessee, right? He just dumped the ball into the ground or overshot his receivers. Why did you stop blitzing? You had a 4-man rush the whole second half, and he just dinked, and it was all 5-yard passes, right? Etnine, 5-yard, boom, boom, boom. So the defensive coordinator should be fired, even though he was good in the first half. Why did he change? Was it him, or was it the head coach that said, let's play not to lose, who's a defensive coach, supposedly? The coach has to go. You're not winning with this coach. This team, you give Bill Walsh this team, you give Bill Parcells this team, you give Jimmy Johnson this team, they're in the Super Bowl every year, right? With this idiot, they can't even win a playoff game. They can barely make the playoffs. They give games away. They give gifts. They play not to lose, and they play let's try on 4th down every time. How many games have they lost going forward on 4th down? How many times should they have beaten Kansas City that they let them off the hook because they play not to lose? They play not to win. They play not to lose, so they lose, right? You play to win. They don't know how to play to win. Coach should be fired on San Diego, whoever he is. They hire the stupidest coaches. The Giants coach should be fired. Jacksonville just kind of lucked into it. I mean, let's give the coach credit. He's got Lawrence, and he's winning. I don't know who the Philly coach is, but he should probably be fired for the way with the Minshew. Cincinnati, I like the coach. Maybe you get a stronger one because you got Burrow and Chase. Buffalo's coach is terrible. Dallas, we know their coach sucks, and Shanahan is a very bad choker. So if he wins this game, he's probably going to choke against Philadelphia, would be my guess. But we'll see. He did good against Seattle, beat Coach Pete, who's probably the best coach. So let's walk through the games. Strength and weakness, Kansas City, obviously Mahomes. Jacksonville, weakness, their defense. This will be a tough win for KC, but they should win it because of Mahomes, so it'll be close, I think. But should be high scoring. Giants, Philly, what's their weakness? Their quarterback sucks. Coach, terrible. We'll see. They seem to score 20 points a game somehow. Philly's weakness is their coach, and basically their quarterback kills them. He runs too much. You'll get into a situation like here. The Giants probably match up pretty good against them. When they played without the quarterback and they played that last, they kicked like 4 field goals, Philadelphia, in a must-win game to win it the way they did. They laid down. I'm not sold on Philadelphia. I'm not sold on Hurts. I haven't been. So Philly, are they the best? They don't look like Cincinnati. They don't look like Kansas City. Hurts runs around way too much to be, they're more probably like Buffalo where they can score a lot. Their defense, I'm questioning. How good is it? And, look at the New Orleans game. They fucking Gardner Minshew is a very good quarterback, and their play calling sucked in that game. So I don't know. We'll see. Not a huge Philly fan. Now let them beat Frisco, then I'll be a Philly fan. But right now, this should be a tight game, I think, because I don't know who Philadelphia is. The Giants have been playing well. They're an E team. Philly's the better team, so Philly should win at home by 1.5. I'm not sold on. I wouldn't lay 7.5. And then over under, I'm thinking over 48-42 because the Giants seem to score games in the 20s. Philly should get in the 20s, but, Hurts just runs way too much for me. So we'll see, but that's what I'm guessing. It'll be 28. I got 27-20 is my score, 47. Philly wins by a touchdown. That's about what I think. Cincy Buffalo, why is Buffalo now a 5.5-point favorite? Game should be 3. Where's 5? Where are you betting on the offensive lineman of Cincy? Like, Cincy doesn't know it. Joe Burrow can't figure out, maybe we need to roll the pocket away. I mean, hello. Again, and Buffalo doesn't have anybody on defense. Von Miller could have went up against these linemen and done a thing, but you don't have Von Miller, so what do you, they don't have a defense. Miami, what do you think? Miami had a great all-star line, and they put up 30. You think New England had an all-star line, and they put up 23. So Buffalo will score on Cincy just because of the way their offense is, but Cincy should win the game. I got them 34-31, definitely an over, and the weather is getting better, so that should be very big help. So, again, I like Cincy. I like the over. So it will definitely be a high-scoring game because Buffalo doesn't have a defense, but Buffalo's a good offense. Buffalo and Kansas City are the same team. So Mahomes, he'll get you points, but they really don't stop anybody. Buffalo will get you points, but really doesn't stop. And when you go up against Burrow, he's lighting you up. He lights everybody up. So I just, love that. And then Dallas-Frisco, what the hell's going on? This should be, I have a 10-point spread. It's 4. Then it goes down to 3. Now it's 3.5. What the fuck? Who's betting on Dallas here? You got to be out of your mind. I got 27-17 Frisco, probably bigger than that. Probably a low-scoring game. Frisco might be a little more conservative in that, but we'll see. And Dallas, Dak Prescott, the biggest choke quarterback since Tony Romo, the other Dallas choke quarterback. So everybody bitches about Brady and Rodgers, but you don't hear them bitching about Prescott. Brady and Rodgers didn't have help, right? The receivers got hurt. The line got hurt. What's the excuse for Prescott? There isn't any. And he's got Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard, and he's got a receiver, but he throws so many interceptions. It's crazy. So at the end of the day, it's Philly. It's Philly against Frisco, and it's going to be, I guess, Cincinnati, Kansas City. So that's how I look at it. Since he's the strongest team with the quarterback and Chase and the good defense, they have a complete team. Buffalo is missing Von Miller, so their defense isn't as good. KC's defense isn't that good, and Jacksonville doesn't have a defense. And then on the other hand, the Giants are pretty good defense, but don't have a quarterback, and they got Barkley. Philly, Hurts wants to run too much. Okay, we'll give him credit for the receivers are okay. See, it's funny how that guy from Alabama is like really good in college, and he gets in the pros. He's just another receiver. He barely gets open. You don't see these big touchdowns that he did at Alabama because they're playing against professionals, not Vanderbilt and New Mexico State. So when he's in his class against professionals, he doesn't do anything. So Philly's got a pretty balanced offense. Hurts, question, and then their defense, I don't know. Is it really that good or not? They're inconsistent. Coach, weak. So Philly's the better team here. And then Frisco, I think, is the most complete team. Purdy and McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. So they got the best offense, I think, and the best defense. Coach is a choke. Go ask Atlanta about that one. But they're much better than Dallas. It's them and Philly. And right now I would take Frisco over them. Better everywhere. Better quarterback, better running backs, better receivers, better defense. So Frisco's the best team that I see complete. They're like Cincinnati, good offense and a good defense. I really, Philly's the closest team to it. The Giants missing a quarterback, Dallas, the coach, the quarterback's problems. So that's how I get to that conclusion. Is you want the best team. See, that's what happens in the NFL playoffs now. The best team with the best defenses really take charge. You don't have all this bullshit that you get in a regular year, like the Lions or Green Bay or whatever. You get real teams, or Seattle gets explosive but no defense. Okay, so that's how I like it. The free pick is San Francisco down to 3.5. Tease them plus 2.5. You can play them with Cincy over or Cincy. Cincy should win the game, and now they're getting 5.5. And there's no injury. It's not like Buffalo's getting Von Miller back, so I really don't understand this line at all. Again, people are not betting. They're betting with the emotion, not their brains. So they're not analyzing the game like I do, going, well, fuck Buffalo. Cincinnati's getting 11.5 in a teaser. Like, how do you not jump on that? That just doesn't make any sense. So I don't see any major injuries anywhere here. So, again, you got to go. This is where you go quarterback, you go Mahomes, you go Burrow, you go Purdy. Hurts, I don't know. You can't. Daniel Jones is just terrible. Allen's okay. He'll get you points. And then Lawrence is terrible. So you got to bet the good quarterbacks. You got to bet Mahomes over Lawrence all day. I don't care how they're trying to spruce it up. Okay, so that's football. Any questions on football, please dial it in. We are going to look at something I read yesterday. Let's see. Now, this isn't the article I want. So let's talk free market here. 70% of CarMax's Tesla inventory disappeared in 3 days. Tesla price drops have had the seemingly intended impact on Tesla's inventory, with cheaper cars and government incentives colliding to move a lot of cars. If that's not your vibe, I also have the dullest story in the history of dull stories, because David is quite excited about it. So there's a sell-off in Tesla stock, with the company losing 64% of its value last year. So when I talk about the market crashing, that's what I'm talking about. Tesla can't move their inventory. Sales are down. Their costs are still the same, if not higher. What's going to happen? Their inventory, their stock, and you can see the stock price dumped. The company losing 64% of its value last year based on the current stock price. This is why I'm telling you the market's going to crash, is because who's running out to buy a fucking electric vehicle? And Tesla sells them in the 50,000 range. I saw they did a $10,000 reduction on one of their cars from 50 to 40. So carry that forward in the market. The first key to running a business is, what is my market? And then if I'm selling it up here, I'm fucked, because nobody's buying it. So Tesla's got to find their market. What's the demand on electric vehicles that are pure electric? Probably down here. Now, the hybrid ones, where it's gas or electric, are probably a little higher. I don't know why you would buy one, but I guess maybe you want the electric. So that affects the stock price when you can't sell your car, right? So sales are down, your stock price tanks, because if I'm not making earnings, why am I in the stock in the first place? Well, I'm in the stock in the first place because I think it's going to go up in price. I'm going to make money on it. So let's back up to investments. I have money. Okay. I worked at a job. I pay my bills. I have money left over. What do I do with the leftover money? Well, in the old days, you put it in a bank. A, for safety. B, they'd give you a 2, 3, 4%. So you felt like you were making money on your money's just sitting there and you're making 4%, let's say. That was the intent. And hey, Nick, heard Toyota is the only one not entering the electric car industry. They will attempt to use a hydrogen model to power cars in hydrogen. So how are you going to fill that up? Is that gas? I mean, so walk me through it, Nick. I buy a car. It's hydrogen. It's not electric. Excuse me. Do I fill up with gas, or do I go to the hydrogen station and fill up with hydrogen, or the hydrogen battery and I plug it in? That would be my thought. Toyota's getting their ass kicked because when I was there Monday, they are getting their ass kicked. They are they're not selling. They're lowering their price. Then they're dealing with a 9% interest rate when you do buy it, which kills their price even more. So if you pay, it's $25,000, it now turns back into a $30,000 car at 9%. Who the fuck's buying a car now? So all the cars, if you're in car stock, get the fuck out because you're going to lose your ass. Nick, I wish I could walk you through it, but I overheard someone at dinner last night talking about it and just caught the snippet and figured I'd share it with you. Well, I'll do some research on it, Nick. But again, hydrogen module, that sounds like they're using a hydrogen battery. And therefore, how do you charge that? I mean, I don't know what's different about it. You're certainly not putting hydrogen into your car, into your gas tank. So this will be interesting. So let me check it out. Hello, Eric. Taking Dallas and the Giants. Okay. Why are you telling us this? I mean, that's, what do you want me to tell you? I told you who I like. I don't really care who you like. This is a class. This is who Eric likes. Nobody cares who Eric likes. You don't have any backup. Well, thank you, Eric. What's the point of that comment? We're here to hear who the professor likes because I get into an explanation and a reader. I don't know. I don't care if you like Dallas. That's not the play. This is a class. This is not a show. It's a master's class. And this is not about your opinion on football games. This is about, I walk you through the games and then you can ask questions, who I like and why, or if I give a score or we get into analysis. So it's not a show, it's a class. And this is not everybody throw up their opinions on who they like. I don't really care. No, it's okay, Eric. You didn't know. I've never seen you before, so I'm just trying to give you the thought process of what's going on here. But this is pretend you're in a class in college at a master's level, and the class is football, gold, economics, and poker, and women, and anything else that's interesting. But I'm the professor, so I'm teaching you. You ask questions, that's fine. That's what I want. That's why I do it live, such as like Phil and Nick. That's what they bring to the class. So I want to interact with you. That's why I'm doing it live. No apology necessary, but I gave you a free pick in San Francisco. So now you're kind of being, like, well, I don't care what you said. I'm taking Dallas. And so my question would be, why would you take Dallas if I'm giving you Frisco as a free pick? Now, if you're new and you've never seen my video or heard of me, go take a look at them. I do about 70, 75%. I'm giving you explanation why we like San Francisco. So I would ask, why in that God's name would you take Dallas? And then it's not about being contrarian. There's not a reason in the world I would take Dallas. Okay, very good. www.teaserking.com. You can see my history, and I get into why you bet everything. I think it's fair to share opinions as long as you can back up with explanation to have a conversation. Don't want to step on. Well, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, Nick. So I'm giving you Frisco. I'm giving you Cincinnati. Why, why would you take Dallas in this situation? What in God's name would you be what would possibly be your reason? I pretty thoroughly went over the Niners-Dallas game that I give you the Niners by 10. You're not even playing a teaser, Eric. You're just playing the 3.5. I'd be happy to bet you on that. I'll give you 3.5. We can bet $500 if you want, whatever you want to do. But really, I don't really care what other people's bets are because it's going to skew. All right, let's say, Phil he's listening for my picks, and then you give a pick Dallas. I don't want to skew Phil, and I don't want you to listen to BetMGM and ESPN for their picks because, like in gold, and I'm about to get to that, you don't know who you're listening to. You're listening to Bernie Madoff. Would you prefer to listen to the professor or Bernie Madoff? So if you're listening to Bernie Madoff and he says, take Dallas, is that really who you want to follow? Or do you want to follow the professor? So that's my point. My whole point about a lot of this is who do you trust and who do you listen to and why do you trust them and why do you listen to them? So I've given you reasons that BetMGM doesn't have a freaking clue what they're talking about. They don't back it up. They just give out picks. They don't give any explanation. So why would you want to listen to them to make a bet? We're here to make money, and that's really the goal here, right? You want to make money. So you want to bet football. I get it. So listen to the commentary. I went through the games when I first started, 20 minutes ago. I went through all 4 games, and I explained all 4 games. And that's who I would expect you to bet on in all 4 games, the games I give you. So if I give you a free play Frisco and you tell me you're betting Dallas, okay, so why would you not listen to me? And then why would you go the other way? That's my point. So if you're going to say, you could say something like, well, I like Dallas because of this, that, and the other. And I'd say, okay. Now I do all that ahead of time, right? I already look at everything thoroughly before I make a pick. So I already look at, should I take Dallas? I wouldn't take Dallas with 9.5, right? You want to take them in 3.5 because what? They beat Tampa Bay and they beat Tom Brady. And my explanation is they're not playing Tampa. They're playing the Niners. They're playing a real team with a real defense and a real quarterback and McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, which Tampa didn't have, and the defense, which Tampa didn't have. And Prescott's going to throw his 2 interceptions because I'll take you back to the Washington game when they needed the game desperately and lost 27-6, and they tried in the game. That's the Dallas team. Prescott chokes in the playoffs. So why would I want to bet a choker? That's what I'm about. So feel free to ask questions and comments. Again, that's why I do it live. You'll get the feel of it. But go to the site, look at the history, and you'll go, oh, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. But you don't really want to you either play my plays or maybe you watch it. I certainly wouldn't bring up you're taking Dallas here without explanation when I'm giving you a free pick of Frisco. So I would expect everybody to bet Frisco because that's the free pick, not to go with Dallas. Anyway, talking about Tesla and stocks, Tesla has their price over market. their stock goes down because they can't sell them. They lower their price. There's some sort of government incentive to buy electric cars, so they knock 6 or 7,000 off. And who pays for that? We do out of our tax dollars. If somebody buys a Tesla that's at this level and they get a $7,000 credit, it comes out of our pocket. Again, but there's no demand for electric cars. Now, I was looking at something yesterday. I think it was an email, and let's see if it's still in my email. So they're trying to make this point that, look at Tesla, their inventory went away because they lowered their prices. Well, that's of course what happens. But that's my point on inflation. What do I argue about with inflation is that you can't, if the market's here for Oreo cookies, you can't just raise your price and expect to sell them just because your costs went up. And I was at the grocery store yesterday doing a little homework for us, and I saw Oreos, and they were $4.80 for the little box. But if you bought, you get the second. If you bought two, the second one was free. So really, it's $2.40 if you bought two boxes. Now, if you buy two boxes, you eat it on your own, you're going to have diabetes, right? Your blood sugar is going to go through the roof. If you have a family, you're going to give your family diabetes, and all their blood sugar is going to go up. Who wants two boxes of Oreo cookies? You got to be out of your mind. But notice what they're doing. They raised the price to $4.80. Nobody's buying it. So they're saying you can have the second one free. So it's $2.40 if you buy two. Because of inflation, you can't raise the price if the market says no, no, no. And I'm seeing that a lot at the grocery store. Meat, I got 3 pounds of the sirloin, and it was $6. If you bought 3 pounds, if you didn't, it was like $6.50. This one grocery store I go, it's a little higher end, but I only go for the meats, and I still got chicken on sale. 4 big chicken breasts, you know, that pack. It was like $1.79 a pound because they couldn't sell it at $3 or $4 a pound. So even though there's inflation, even though the costs are up, even though the prices are going up, the market says, no, you can't sell it. The whole idea of a store is to move your inventory if the price is too high, like at Tesla, like Oreos, like at Coke and Pepsi. I see them at $2.99. Then you see them on sale because nobody buys them at $2.99. So all this shit goes on sale because they got to turn their inventory. And that's what's happening. So I'm noticing that. That's why Tesla, their stock's tanking. They can't move their cars because their price is here and their market's here. So they're lowering it down to get to the market. But even now, the demand's down here now because, so the market's here. I'll pay you this, but the demand is down here. In gold, the demand we know is through the roof. But here, the demand is low because now interest rates are 9%, and who has $50,000 for a car, an electric car that nobody wants? So it's a real tough task. So I see Tesla just going out of business soon because I don't know who's going to buy them, especially if the shit hits the fan as it's supposed to. Hey, Phil, you also got sneaky and changed the weights of products. So yes, well, that's another type of inflation. So what Phil's saying is the Oreos that were 16 ounces and you'd get 48 cookies are now 14 ounces and you get 40 cookies. That is inflation also. And that's what they like to do in a lot of products. They do that. What I noticed at the gas station is you want to buy Fritos with the the fountain drink Coke. You buy a Diet Coke fountain drink. Okay, reasonably priced, but then you want to get Fritos with it, right? You want to eat something with the Coke. And now they're like $2.59, but now there's 3 ounces. Like, 80 cents an ounce for Fritos? Really? If they're even 3 1/4 ounces. So they make the bag a little bit bigger, but then the 99-cent Fritos are now $2.59. You're walking out with a $5 bill on a pop and a Dorito. So you just, really you shouldn't eat the chips because they make you hungry and they kill your diet. But that's, so you got to be careful. But Phil's exactly right. Well, let's take it to the Romans. let's take your philosophy to what the Romans did. So they had their currency in gold and silver. There was no paper back then. You want something, gold and silver. What did the Romans do? They debased their currency. What does that mean? It means there was 1 ounce of gold turned into a half ounce of gold, turned into a quarter ounce of gold, turned into no gold in their gold coin. It was brass or copper, whatever they used. So they took all the gold out of the gold coin. That's exactly what Phil's saying. They debased it. So, so that's kind of what they're doing with what Phil's talking with Fritos, with bread, with cereal, with anything, soup, whatever you want to buy. The 16 ounces is now 14 ounces. I color my hair, obviously. And I go and so I get this color, something for men, and you put it in your hair every couple of days and it slowly makes it dark. But if you keep it in, they don't tell you. If you keep it in for 10 minutes, it darkens it real quick. And I noticed it went from 8 ounces to 6 ounces for the same $8 or whatever. So they're doing it to hair color, probably shampoo, probably soap, probably all of it is a way. Now, in their defense, it's fine because the market is by price, right? It is by quantity too, but if I want to buy a can of, Campbell's chicken noodle soup and it's $1, well, no, let's go to Hormel chili, right? So we all like chili. So let's say there's a can of chili, 16 ounces, $1.99. Our market is the $1.99 more than it is the 16 ounces. We kind of look at the price more than we look at the ounces. Like we figure we're getting a good can. So they keep the price at $1.99 to keep the market, but the 16 ounces goes down to 14 ounces. So that's what they do. That's a smarter way to do it because the market's set by price versus really ounces. But the smarter guys go, well, fuck, you're wait, there's only 14 ounces. So you're really, the $1.99 is really $1.79. But what I've noticed with the chilies and the soups is they've went up. Or baked bean. Why the fuck are baked beans $2.59? I don't eat them often. They're really not that healthy, but I do, if I have a steak, yeah, okay, I want to get beans. I'm tired of salads or whatever. But I noticed like the baked beans went from $1.99 to $2.59. I just say, fuck that. Chili, I'm noticing, went from like $1.99 to $2.59. Okay, the stupidest items are jumping in price. And I don't know why they're jumping in price. It doesn't really make sense. That's where you substitute. You either look for a different brand or you say, fuck that, and I'm going to eat celery instead. I don't need to eat chili. It's salty and, it's not that good for you anyway. So it's kind of like a go with, but if you're going to make it that expensive, fuck you. I'm not going to buy it. And that's what happens. You ever get these emails, order pending? Like I didn't make an order and this is a scam, right? They're trying to scam me. They want me to give information for this order pending. Client, we need your confirmation to ship your order. Well, I haven't fucking ordered anything. So what are you shipping? So please be aware, these are scams. Try to avoid that. You've won this, you've won that. So be careful. So let me go into my trash. So I got this email from some of my money is left in E-Trade. It's owned by JP Morgan. Well, let me see. And JP Morgan, now, what do we know? We know economics better than anybody, right? And you know it better than most people do now because I've taught it to you. All right. E-Trade by JP Morgan sends me this fucking email. Okay. What does it say? A market outlook for the year ahead. So this is like getting an email from Bernie Madoff saying, yeah, look, the SEC looked at me and my scam is fine. So I start reading it, just curiosity. What the fuck is JP Morgan telling me? So I want to read you just a little snippet of what the fuck these idiots are talking about. Now, this is our problem. We understand what's really going on. I've been teaching it to you. You get it. I know you get it because I pound it into your head every day. But what happens is you got the Keynesian / communist trying to talk you out of it. No, don't buy gold and silver. Everything's going to be fine. The economy is going to be fine. Here's a global investment outlook, a year for yield. In an environment of slow growth, lower inflation. Oh, inflation's lower? And new monetary policies, 2023 may have upside for bonds, defense stocks, and emerging markets. Let me get to the juicy parts. Inflation and other dominant market trends of 2022 fully reverse themselves, according to the 2023 investment outlook from Morgan Stanley Research. For markets, this presents a very different backdrop than 2022, which was marked by resilient growth, high inflation, and hawkish policies, says Andrew Sheets. I'd love to talk to this motherfucker. Chief cross-asset strategist for Morgan Stanley Research. Overall, 2023 will be a good year for income investing. Oh, really? And inflation's just going to go. As global economic trends temper inflation and central banks pause their rate hikes. That's not happening. This is particularly true for high-quality bonds. So he's trying to sell you bonds, which historically have performed well after the Federal Reserve stops raising interest rates. So he's trying to tell us that he knows the Fed's going to stop raising interest rates. Okay. Then he says emerging market equities and debt. Emerging markets are like India and Sri Lanka, the little countries, right? Because they're low, they're going to go up. They've been underperforming in this economic, could be early to recover in the next, as was the case after the dot-com bust. So they keep comparing this to dot-com or 2008. This is not the same thing. This is totally fucking different because we got the dollar going to zero. We've got heavy inflation, and that's not going away because they don't even understand what inflation is. What did I read? S&P will likely end the year near where it started, but with material swings along the way. U.S. dollar will peak in 22 and decline in 23. So that's good news. Doesn't even understand that. Emerging market and Japanese equities may deliver. Why the fuck Japanese? Japan's broke. They are gone. They are bankrupt. Oh, they're all of a sudden gonna return double digits. Then here's my favorite. Oil will likely outperform gold and copper with Brent crude. The global oil benchmark ending will be at 110. So that's about all he can say about gold is oil will outperform it. Again, not understanding the most critical point is gold is priced as a derivative paper market, not physical. Not understanding Russia is working with China to come out with dollars backed by gold, which will make gold go through the roof. Not understanding the dollar is going to zero because of the inflation. He thinks, being a Keynesian, thinks that prices going up are inflation, not the dollar losing value. This is critical because when they measure inflation, they don't do it correctly. What are they looking at as prices? So if the Oreo cookies went from $2.50 to $5, they'll say, well, inflation went up. But food isn't even in their calculation. Neither is energy. So how the fuck are they giving us an inflation figure, not including our little Oreo cookies and our meat and our soups, and all the prices of food are not included. So how the fuck do you do an analysis? That's like me analyzing the Frisco Dallas game and not analyzing Brock Purdy and McCaffrey, leaving them out of my analysis. Eric, could it be a recession this year? We're already in. It's going to be a depression this year. We're past recession. So what's happening is they're giving you this feel good, keep your money in JP Morgan, buy stocks and bonds, buy oil. You don't want to be in gold, that's no good. And the dollar will lose its value. So in one sentence, he's saying inflation by the dollar losing its value is inflation. However, he thinks inflation's price increases. So let's go to my favorite thing, my Canadian club. Oh no, we can't even do this because they're not even looking at food and alcohol. So let's go to my Bellagio because this will be included. So this went from $10 to $15. So it's included in the inflation statistic of price increases, which is not inflation, it's price going up. Then the next year, the price maybe goes to 14 because they can't sell it. Or look at Tesla, right? Tesla is lowering their prices because they can't sell it. So now what they're going to do is say, well, look, inflation's down because price increases year over year have gone down. So inflation's gone down. Okay, that's not inflation. This is what I'm teaching you the whole time. The market for Toyota, $30,000 for a Camry, the market's here. They raise the price, so that's not inflation. That's a price increase. That's all that is, price increase. Now Toyota can't sell them, so they lower their price. Oh, inflation's down because Toyota, to get to their market to make sales, had to lower their price back down to the 22,000, which is what people do. But even then, it's too high because now the interest rate, instead of being 1%, is 9%. So now a 22,000 really costs you 25, which nobody can afford because the $22,000, that's what I bought mine for. I paid 1% on my 6-year note that I paid off in 3 years. So because of that, your market was 22,000. Well, to get back to 22,000 with a 9% interest rate, you got to be at 19,000. Well, if we measure it by prices, well, inflation's down. But that's not inflation, and that's not how you measure inflation. It's how many fucking dollars did you print? Where'd you get $800 billion to give to the Ukraine? You printed it. Where are you getting all the Social Security money to give out? You're printing it. Where are you giving all this for weapons? You're printing it. What is BlackRock doing and JP Morgan? They're fucking printing all this money. Where are you getting? I saw yesterday $130 trillion in debt we are. And that's not the whole truth. It's about 200 trillion because there's stuff that's not on the books that we owe, or that we just like giving Ukraine money is it's where you can't just make it out of the air. So inflation being the devaluation of the dollar because you print too much, how the fuck is that going down? It's not. But if we call it prices, that way we don't look bad because if I keep printing money, Mr. JP Morgan, Mr. Madoff, Mr. BlackRock, if I'm the one that keeps printing the money, you shine the light on me, right? Look, JP Morgan fucked all of us over, which is what's happening because they keep printing and putting it in the pocket, and Biden's taking his share and BlackRock is taking their share, and everybody's taking, go print a few more million. People think it's digits on a computer. Bullshit. They're printing the fucking money like in Money Heist. There's a press going and they're printing. And the fact that we use prices is not fair because yes, prices went up, but as you can see, I can't sell my product at the higher prices, so I have to lower them or put them on sale like Tesla did or like Toyota or do that or, Oreo cookies, even though they're not included in the inflation because for some reason they don't want to include food and energy. How the fuck do you not include the heat and the electricity and stuff like that when the heat's gone way up? and the electrics has gone up. How do you not include that? That's inflation. Well, it really isn't. It's just prices going up is not inflation. So the key about the inflation is you keep printing money. That is destroying the money. That is the problem, but they don't want to address it. So they're going to make it look like inflation is getting better because look, the prices, because you're comparing year to year. So you're going to compare December 2021 to December 2022. Now it'll be January 22 to January 23. Well, you've already started raising prices. You couldn't sell your goods because of the inflation. Your costs went up, so you raised your prices, but now the market's saying, no, I'm not going to do it. So now you're lowering your prices. So now you have this higher price that you tried to do that you couldn't. Now you have a lower price because you can't sell any of the goods because the market's telling you to fuck off. We're not going to pay more for baked beans and Toyotas and Teslas. You got to lower your price. So the price drops. So they're going to sell you this bag of goods that inflation's down. This has nothing to do with inflation. The inflation initially raised the cost because it takes more money to buy the steel, right? You're fucking with the dollars. It's now worth less. I'm ready to tear this in half. So this is what it was back in 1913, and then it slowly gets worse and worse. And now it's probably worth about this much. In 2023, this is what your dollar is now worth, about a nickel, right? That's what you've done to our dollar because you don't back it by gold and you just print the fuck out of it. And add to that, you tax us to death. So even if we are lucky enough to save money, we then got to pay taxes on it. So the whole point is you're fucking up the dollars. That's the problem. So if I'm in business and I'm selling my Canadian club because I love my Canadian club. Now I realize my cost is now I got to sell this at $150 a case, 12 bottles in a case. So let's say I need $50 is my cost. I need to sell it at 60. That's what the inflation does is it raises my cost to make this because this is worthless. So I got to pay more to get the ingredients. And then, wait a minute, I want to make $60. But since this is inflated dollars and only worth 10 cents, I need to charge $70 to cover my $50 in costs for my Canadian club because the value of the dollars dropped. That's why when you go buy a car, it's now 9% because if we carry that out, I want a $25,000 Camry. So if I'm a bank and I'm going to loan money to me. So the bank loans me money. Well, wait a minute. If I give you $25,000 and you pay me back at 2%, I'm getting fucked. I'm only going to get back $28,000, of which with inflation, it's not even worth the 25 I gave you. So I have to cover that the fact that the dollar's going down. So I have to raise interest rates to cover to get back my 25,000 plus my whatever percent. So if I loan you 25, I want 28 back. That's the risk I have that you're going to default. So I'm going to charge you more. So at 25,000, I charge you enough to get 28,000 or whatever, 29,000 to get my 27 out of it. That's why the interest rates go up because the value of the dollar drops. But that's not being calculated in this little inflation thing. That's really the key is the interest rates. That shows you how much inflation is. So if you just watch that, you'll know. Looking at prices doesn't mean shit because the market dictates the price, not the inflation. So again, Toyota must lower their price on their car but to make, let's say it costs them $15,000 to make the Camry to sell it at 25. Well, they realize they can't, so they got to lower it to 20. But with interest rates, so it costs them 15, and they're going to make 17 on it after inflation. That's when you go bankrupt, right? Because you don't make the money. But if they don't charge more and the bank doesn't charge more interest, they're all losing money, and nobody's in business to lose money. That's really the key of what's going on. Are we in a recession? We're way past that. The market is slowing because of the inflation. And anytime you have inflation, what does it mean? It means your cost gone up. It means the value of your dollar dropped. So therefore, it takes more dollars to buy whatever the good is. So therefore, if costs go up, sales drop. It's a very simple thing. There used to be like a movie thing, right? Well, I charge $5 for people to come into the movies and I get 100 people. And if I raise my price to $7, I'm going to lose people. But am I going to get enough people to make more money than at $5? And then it's, what about $10? I know I'm going to, so every time I raise my price, I lose people. And then the question is, how much people do I lose? And then how much do I raise my popcorn and my pop to get the food stand to help me make up and recover for the raise in ticket prices? So that was always like a fun exercise, because the key is, as you raise prices, you lose, price goes up, quantity goes down. As you raise, at my rib place, as you raise the price on ribs, less people order them. They go to the chicken. They go to the more affordable things. People always bet with their pocketbook. So again, this is the key thing that I love to teach is look at gold, 1971, $35 an ounce. Now it's approximately COMEX at 1900, but really it's 2100 if you want to buy an ounce of gold versus 35. Well, wait a minute, it's still an ounce of gold. What the fuck? It shows you how much inflation there is, because now it takes more dollars to buy the same ounce of gold as it did in 1971. So the value of the dollar has more than went half. This is the value of the dollar since 71, maybe 5 cents, because you can't buy the gold for $35 that you could buy, but the gold hasn't changed. It's an ounce of gold. It's the same fucking gold that Caesar had. I probably have Caesar's gold, a bunch of Roman gold, because all they do is melt it down because it's indestructible and redo it. So they've melted it down. China does that. China sends their gold to Switzerland. Switzerland melts it down and changes it to Chinese or some whatever they put on the front of their coin. So there used to be the Nazi gold, right? And the Nazis would put their swastika on it, on the bars. Well, that's gone. So that got melted down and turned into American gold or Swiss gold or whatever. So you melt gold down and you change it, but it's indestructible. You can never kill gold. If you heat it, it melts. But you can never. It's indestructible, which is the beautiful part of gold, which is probably why it's the gold standard, and it's a very beautiful piece, which is why everybody likes gold as money. So that's the basic premise. Is if you want to talk inflation, that's what you do. But the problem we know with gold is it's derivative, not free physical, and that's where we're going, is to the physical gold market. Thank God for Russia. They did something right. They're the ones pushing for this because they got all this gold they need a higher value because this war is killing them. They're going bankrupt. A lot of people are leaving Russia. None of the guys are staying. They don't want to be in the war. They're being surrounded. They're being pushed back to Russia. I'm hoping the war ends soon, but I still don't understand what the fuck the war is when there's really no purpose to it. I thought they were after oil, but I don't know what they're after. Anyway, I know they're making deals with China, and that will be currency backed by gold. There's no more petrodollar. That now goes away to Saudi Arabia saying, fuck you. You want to go electric. You don't want to use my oil. I don't need you. And they're in bed with China and Russia now. Well, mostly with China and some of the Far East countries, I don't know, Korea or whatever, where they will then take gold for their oil or that, but nobody wants US dollars, which will be the end of the dollar. So they can paint the picture, look how rosy 2023 is, but keep in mind who's telling the story. When I tell you the story, I'm trying to educate you, right? I'm teaching you what is reality. When JP Morgan tells you the story, it's to benefit JP Morgan. Oh, 2023 is going to be fine. I'm going to go call my JP Morgan guy. And what happened is I have E-Trade because it's $5 to buy a stock, got bought out by JP Morgan. And, now I'm dumping it all because I hate JP Morgan. Fucking just call up JP Morgan off. They're now Russian mafia. So I want to be away from them. But I've taken most of my money out and bought gold with it. But that's where we're at. So keep in mind, listen to who's telling you the story. Be careful. You understand now what's going on. So if you hear contradictory things, you now understand they're bullshit. So when I'm reading an article like that, 2023 is going to be rosy. I'm like, okay, inflation's not going away. What the fuck are you talking about? The US dollar is going away and there'll be out a new dollar and buy your gold and silver. Well, when they say oil is not going to be, yeah, they are. Russian mafia is all over the place. JP Morgan is probably the most crooked company in the world next to BlackRock. The two of them are make Darth Vader look like a nice guy. You can't trust either of them. And we'll look at JP Morgan knew the Madoff thing. Why didn't they go to jail? Why didn't the SEC go to jail? They all knew about it and they all kept it running because they all had their hand in the till. And Madoff was the puppet, right? He's a nice guy and we're going to kill you. And he said, okay, I guess I won't tell on you. And how could the SEC blow 5 times auditing of it, not finding anything? And the one guy, I think the stupidest guy in the whole story is the guy from the Boston bank who found all these red flags, wasn't smart enough to understand the SEC was in bed with him. He has to be the dumbest guy in the whole story, right? Oh, I found out nobody can do this, da, 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 da. Here's the SEC. The SEC doesn't find it. He gets frustrated. No, dude, the SEC's in it. They're paid off. They will never say he did it. Sort of like Biden now. Nobody will say Biden's son did anything, right? He's protected. He's paid off. Hello, you've got to wake up and understand what the fuck is going on in the world, not just take it for face value that, well, they couldn't find anything wrong with Biden. They're all paid off. They're not going to find anything wrong with Biden. Biden was in Russia. Biden was in China. They paid them, money for whatever it is, and now they're getting paid back because we're run by China now. We're destroying our own dollar, which makes no fucking sense because of the payoff. Now, you have to be smart enough to understand what the hell is going on. Just like when we see a fixed game, like we saw Buffalo last week against Miami. Game was totally fixed. Buffalo wins the game but can't win by 13, and that's exactly what they did. They laid down to not cover the spread, and they made Skylar Thompson look like a superstar. All right, okay? And if you believe that game was real, I got oceanfront property here in Detroit because that was a bullshit game. It was not real. I think you'll get Buffalo trying this week against Cincinnati, but they'll probably win. If they win, they're going to win by 3. They cannot cover 5.5, especially with money going on them. So Cincinnati, I had Cincinnati winning the game, but that's what you have. So you've got to be smart. Does things make sense? So if they're valuing inflation on cost, they're not even measuring it correctly. That is not what's happening. And the reason costs go down because it's all about the free market. If the market's here and you're here because you've made the market here. So let's go to ribs. So I go to my rib place. He's $22 for ribs, and that's the market. He sets the market. So you go into the restaurant and you go, yeah, okay, I'll pay $22 for the ribs. That's the market, right? So he set it. Then he raises prices a little bit, goes up to $25 for the slab. So you go, okay, I'll do it. I warn the guy, and I'm talking to the owner like I'm talking to you right now, and I says, if you go to 40, you're out of business. You won't sell one slab of ribs because you've made the market about 25. Maybe we go up $1 or $2. But now when I go, I get the ribs chicken combination. I don't get the slab of ribs because it's only $20, right? So you're pushing me to the least expensive stuff. Now it'll be more barbecue chicken with a few ribs. I'm not going to buy the slab of ribs. He's up to $27, and I've warned him, you get over 30, nobody's going to order your ribs. And he won't go over 30. He listens to me because I talked him into buying gold and silver. And when I'm at the gold and silver place, if there's gold, I text him there's gold here. And he comes running and buys the gold. He gets it. He knows we're fucked, and he knows he needs gold and silver. He is one of these doubters. So I'm going to go play, what do you call it? What's the word? I'm going to play devil's advocate to myself right now. So I talk to him and I go, gold and silver are going to go up. Devil's advocate. Why, Howard? The gold and silver market haven't gone up. Silver's $24 an ounce or $28 if I buy it. Why is it going to go up now? Why is gold going to go up now? What's so special now that it hasn't gone up since 1971? Well, it went up a little. It went from 35 and now it's 1800. But so it has gone up. But, well, you know, it's been 1,800 for the last 2 years or 1,900. Why is it going to go up? I don't believe you. Prove it to me. So now I put on my professor face and I tell him because of the BRICS countries, because of the heavy inflation, so the dollar's losing value. Now, the dollar's always lost value, as I pointed out, 35 to 1,800 for gold. That's the dollar losing its value. So why are we going to get the jump now? Because Biden comes in and starts printing trillions of dollars and trillions of dollars. Nobody's ever printed like this before. That makes the debt go through the roof. That makes trillions of dollars into the system, which makes the dollar lose value. The dollar's going to zero. Okay, but why is gold going to go up? The dollar's lost value since 1913. It really is nothing new. Well, now you have 33 countries are now off the dollar. There's no more. We used to be the lead currency because we were the petrodollar, meaning if you wanted to buy gas from Saudi Arabia, you had to use the US dollar. That's gone. Saudi Arabia is now taking gold. They're taking yuan. Anything you want, we don't need dollars. You've got 33 countries getting off of dollars because they don't want to be sanctioned like what we did against Russia. You're fucking Russia over. But you're fucking all the people who live in Russia. And I got friends in Russia who are just getting crushed because prices are going up, but their salary's not going up because of these fucking sanctions. McDonald's is gone. Coca-Cola is gone. So I saw this link on YouTube, and there's like a fake McDonald's. It's like the Arches, but it's a Russian McDonald's. And Coca-Cola, the red bottle, but it's Ivanov Cola or whatever. It's some Russian thing. So you're fucking those people over. But what's really happening is you don't have, you've got countries, 33 countries, don't want to be sanctioned. They're all getting fucked by this higher interest. The only person, when Powell raises the interest rates, it's not for inflation. It fucks over all these countries having our dollar because now they got to pay 5%. They were paying 0%. Basically, it was like, here, we need to buy your dollar to buy oil, and we bought your dollar. Now we got to pay you back. So it was kind of like loans. But now they've raised to what, 4.5%. So now Switzerland has to pay 4.5% to the U.S. for the dollar because the FX rate that Powell keeps raising, telling you it's inflation, which it's got nothing to do with inflation, it's killing them. Then the Eurozone and the UK and Japan and China and all these countries are getting fucked over by these high interest rates because it's costing them more, like the car. The Toyota is now 9% to buy it. That's what you're doing to all these countries with the high FX rate. So they're all getting away from US dollars. We can't afford this shit. We got our own mess to worry about because we printed our dollar. We took your lead and printed, but we've created our massive inflation in Europe, in the Eurozone, in China, in Japan, in Switzerland, which should know better, India, Sri Lanka. You see what happened to Sri Lanka. You see what happened to Pakistan. Argentina and Brazil are all fucked up. So you can see what happened. Saudi Arabia says, fuck you. You're going away from oil into electric. So you don't want my oil. I'm going to go find another customer, because if you're not going to buy it, that's all we have in the country is oil, and I'm rich from it. I'm the prince or whatever. So I'm going to find another buyer. Oh, here's China. They need oil. Okay, so we'll deal with China. Russia doesn't need oil. They got their own, but maybe Japan needs oil, or these other countries have gas. Germany, all of Europe needs it. How about Berkshire Hathaway stock, 462 a share? I wouldn't buy that. I wouldn't be in stock, but I'll get to that in a minute. So you have all these countries getting off the dollar. So again, the fat, ugly girl at the dance who used to be pretty and she gained 50 pounds and now she looks like shit. So when she's young and pretty, everybody wants to dance with her. Now she's fat and ugly. Nobody wants to dance with this girl who's now 55 years old, not 20 anymore. She's not a hot 20-year-old. She's a not hot 50-year-old, and nobody wants to dance. That's the U.S. dollar. Nobody wants her. They're afraid of the sanctions. They think Biden's out of his fucking mind. He's in bed with the Chinese. The Chinese want to take over, so the Chinese want to blow up the U.S. dollar, which is exactly what's happening. So J.P. Morgan comes out with their communist view. Oh, buy stock. They're trying to kill everybody, right? So they want us to stay in stock market. I pointed out, look at Tesla. They can't sell their goods because of inflation, but they need to charge. So if my bottle of Canadian Club, my cost went from $10 and I'm going to sell it for 20, so I'm going to make 20% or 50% actually. My costs have now went up to $17 because of the inflation, because the dollar's worth less. I need to sell it for 25, but the market says, no, you can't. You can only sell it for the 17 or 18. And by the way, my costs have gone up. So I can't even afford this. So they can't sell it. What happens? They go out of business, or they lose money and their stock goes down. So that's what's happening with these countries. They're all freaking out. They're all going through this massive inflation. You watch now. What my point has always been: watch what happens to the euros and the Swiss and Japan and India. See what they do. They're going to come out with new currencies. The BRICS countries are going to come out with a dollar backed by gold, because that's the only. Then everybody will trust the dollar, and nobody will want the dollar. So the U.S. dollar, now 33 countries have said, fuck you, we don't want anything to do with you. That's the reality of it. How does it keep value if nobody wants it? So does the girl at the dance, who's now 50 pounds overweight and not 20 anymore, there's no demand to dance with her, which then makes her, nobody wants her, makes her value zero. Right? When she's hot, there's a line of guys wanting to dance her and take her out. When she gets fat and ugly and old, there's no demand. This is women, and we talked about that before, that there has to be demand for women to have their value. That's why they try to be pretty and stay slim and do the things they do, is the demand for them. They need to be wanted, and that's why they keep their looks as long as they can. That's why they keep their shape, because that's all they have for them is the looks. We don't really date women for their brains, although some might, but normally we got to look at a girl and we're attracted to her, not, well, she doesn't look good, but she's smart. Well, that's why we come here for guy talk. So that's the U.S. dollar. Nobody wants her anymore. They're afraid of sanctions and these high interest rates. So you're killing the demand. So we will have to go to a gold standard soon as our dollar blows up. But everybody talks, what do they talk about? They try to comfort you into saying, well, you remember the girl when she was 25 years old, she still looked pretty, right? That's what they're talking about. Well, look at the dot-com bubble in 2000. Look at the housing crash in 2008. Well, we're in 2023. We're 15 years removed. The girl is 15 years older now. She doesn't look like she did in 2008. So you can't compare her to 2008. 2008 was not hyperinflation and high interest rates. It was the housing bubble crashing because they lent money to people that couldn't afford mortgages, that had no credit, and they lent money to them. And when they did, and then the interest rates started going up, they couldn't afford their mortgages. They got out of their mortgage. But these idiots at the Margin Call movie are sitting there with all these mortgage-backed securities that are now worthless because people can't afford their mortgages and are defaulting. And that's got nothing to do with what's happening now. It's totally different. So you've got to understand that. That's totally different. And the price of gold has been derivative JP Morgan price fixed, like the Buffalo game, since 1971. Guess what? It's not going to be price fixed. It's not going to be priced in paper derivatives anymore. It's going to be priced in actual physical. So how you can compare physical price to derivative price is unbelievably stupid. You can't. You cannot compare something that's physical, that's real coin, to a derivative where they could sell 1 million ounces of gold, even though there isn't even 1 million ounces of gold out there. Or let's say 1 billion ounces. I'm going to sell all this and lower the price. And it's all fake. It's all JP Morgan, just keeping the price down. But it's not physical. And we buy physical gold and silver. And that's the difference. We're buying that. There is no price for this. This is not the paper price. So when you buy an ounce of silver and it costs you $2,100, like I just did, at the coin store, because they're looking at the derivative price of 19, and they're adding, we'll add 150 because you know what, we know that's price fixed, so we'll add 150. These guys are bigger idiots than the Ponzi scheme, all the idiots on Madoff's Ponzi scheme, these gold prices. I'm sitting there going, I'm buying a $50,000 ounce of gold for $2,000. How much can I fucking buy? And that's the difference. I'm looking at it in terms of physical, not the derivative price that's down. So like this, if you're selling this for $60 in the store, but JP Morgan has a derivative on Canadian Club whiskey and you can buy it for $2, is the $2 the real price or the $60 that it's really at? It's the $2 is just make-believe fantasy. The real price is 60. Well, the real price of gold is not 1,900. It's thousands and thousands more because first of all, you just printed trillions of dollars. So if your price is in dollars, wouldn't it have gone way up? And if you have inflation and Oreo cookies are going up, wouldn't fucking gold also go up because the value of the dollars decline? So if it's 1,800 here and now it's this, how can it still be 1,800? It's got to be at least 25, 30,000. And that would be, so you got to price to demand. The demand's through the roof because Russia, China, India, all these countries are buying gold. These central banks in Hungary and Czechoslovakia and Germany, all these central banks are buying gold like it's water because they know they have to have it because they know all the dollars are going to get blown up. They understand that and they know the only out's gold. So the demand for gold's way up here. The price is here because JP Morgan's fixing it. Well, they can't hold the fix much longer. It'll go up here. But as people wake up and start realizing gold has a much higher price, fuck, we've been scammed. We've been made off. They're trying to tell us it's 1,800, but we didn't listen to Professor who's saying it's much higher because it's physical. As they start understanding their money's worthless and gold and silver is the place to be, then the demand goes even higher and the price goes even higher. And that's where I get the 50,000. But most people just go to their financial planner and he says, buy stocks and bonds, like what I just read you from JP Morgan. They will not ever tell you to buy gold because JP Morgan does not want you in gold. They want you in dollars because they don't want to lose the monopoly on printing dollars. They're the only ones who print it. Therefore, they don't want to lose that monopoly. They don't want competition with Bitcoin. They don't want competition with gold and silver. But if you're smart, you realize, no. Gold and silver is the place to be, not worthless dollars that are getting printed to zero. And that's the problem. When you don't back this by anything, this is just fucking paper. That's why China and Russia are coming out with dollar backed by gold. Oh, wait, you're backed by gold. I want to be in your dollar. I don't want to be in this dollar. There's no backing. People are not taught this. This is the problem. This is why we're here. They don't understand that the dollar needs to be backed by gold. Therefore, they're all going to get crushed. You got 350 million people in the U.S., 349,900,000, except for us, are going to get fucked. They don't understand. They go to their financial planner who will not tell them that. They should all be fired and thrown to jail. So should JP Morgan, so should BlackRock. So what I'm telling you, stocks are not the place to be because I pointed out the costs went up. The market will not allow them to just sell like Camry at 30,000 or sell ribs at $40 a slab. The market says, no, we're not going to pay that. So they can't be as profitable. Of course, their stocks drop, and then people start needing money. Or if you're in margin, don't ever buy stocks on margin. Unless you want to lose it all, you're an idiot if you do that. No, so we know stocks are not a good place. Bonds obviously aren't a good place because the dollar is crap. So you never want to be in bonds or stock. That's why you go to gold and silver. So let's go to Eric. How about Berkshire Hathaway stock, $462,000 a share? Are you asking to buy it, or you just want me to comment on the stock? First of all, the stock's going to go down to about $5, so I would never buy it at $462. He's all bullshit. He doesn't really buy stock in the normal way. What he does is he'll buy $1 million worth of Disney, 1 million shares of Disney, and 1 million shares of Coke. So he sees a good company out there and he buys all these shares of it. He's not a good investor. He's a crook. He got it all at the thing. You have, how many shares do you want to buy, Eric? 462,000. This is why I love sports betting. You can 2 times your money with a 4% return on investment or a 55% win rate. Stock market is tricky. Stock market's easy if you are in and out. And I showed you the gold yesterday. Let's take a look at gold today. So if you have $462,000 to buy Berkshire Hathaway, you want to buy gold. Bobby, where the hell have you been? Yeah, you're finally here. I waited for you yesterday. Oh my God. So I hope you watched the show yesterday. You missed a lot. Let's go to gold today, and I'll show you the same analysis I showed you yesterday. So Eric, if you have $462,000 to buy a share of Berkshire Hathaway, or you want to buy, let's say 100 shares, go to the gold store and buy gold. You do not want to buy Berkshire Hathaway. Well, let's see our 10 o'clock. What am I looking at here? Oh, okay. How much do we want to bet the 10 o'clock slide? Up, here it is. Gold's up $11 at $19.19. Let's look at the 10 o'clock line, which is right in the middle. So you can see 10 o'clock. And look what happened at 10 o'clock. The fucking stock dropped. That's on this side is 10 o'clock to 11. Look what happened. It dropped from, so it got up to 1923. At exactly 10 o'clock, it dropped to 1918 for no reason. Then it starts going up, which is what I'm telling you, and that's when you buy it. At 1919, it goes back to 1923. You would have sold it. You buy, now this is how you buy stock, Eric. You buy 1,000 shares of Newmont Mining at 1918. When it hits 1923, you sell it. Now, obviously, the stock's a little different. It's going to be 45 and go up to 50, and then you get out of it. But at 10 o'clock, and now I'm showing you again, it went down. It goes down every day at 10 o'clock like clockwork because this is London repricing. And they then do their selling. And then yesterday you saw it really go down, where today it's only go down a little bit. And then you can see it bouncing back up. This is how you buy gold. So, Eric, to buy stock, and make a return. You buy 1,000 shares or whatever the fuck you're buying, and you make 70 cents, you leave, and you made $700. And you do that every day. And you do it at 10 o'clock every day with the gold stocks. It's a no-brainer. I made a lot of money doing that. I'm very happy to take my 700. Maybe it's 1,000. Maybe it's $200. Sometimes it goes up 200. You leave it in, and the next day it opens up 2 points higher, and you've made, what was it yesterday? 1905. It's at 1923. So on a day like this, you really cleaned up if you didn't sell it at 4 o'clock. That's the point. Had bad night's sleep Tuesday night before I was resting up most of the day, but seeing the playback, I said, well, didn't you sleep with your silver? I thought that always puts you, gives you a good mood to go to sleep on. So with my 401k going to zero, it lost. Yes, it is there. I don't know how much money. I don't know if you have Berkshire Hathaway. That's up to you if you want to tell me. If you don't, it's fine. Stock market's going to crash. It's going to go down a lot because of so you need to know why. Don't take my word for it because the professor said it's the reason is the inflation. The dollars go down, the value, the costs of the companies go up. When the costs go up, they can't pass it on to the market because the market says, fuck you, I'm not going to pay $40 for ribs. So what do you think happens to the restaurant? If their ribs go up and they want to pass it on to the customer, they can't. Because we sit there and say, fuck it, I'm just ordering chicken. I'm not going to pay $40 for ribs because the market for the ribs is $25. That's what you've created the market for. So when I walk into the restaurant, I'm checking prices, and if it's very expensive. So if I go to what is it? If I go to Morton's Steakhouse and I look at the menu and his steak's $100, I don't even go in. I turn around and go out. I mean, unless somebody's copying me, I am not spending $100 on a fucking steak at Morton's or Ruth Chris or Shula's or Mike Ditka's or any of those guys. Fuck you. I go to my grocery store that serves high-end meat. I saw New York strips yesterday, Bobby. Very nice, very nice. At $9.99, I would buy 2 or 3 of those and have 3 good steaks for $20, not $100, that I make better than Morton's or any of these guys. I know how to cook a little bit, so that's what I do. And then I save the $70 for other things to buy gold and silver now. That's what you do. You don't, but if Morton's is $25 for the steak, you eat there. But if it turns into $75, you leave. I used to go to a salon to get my hair cut. And I walk in and it's $23. And I go, oh, okay, that's fine. Then I go in and get it for $23 a few times. The next time I go in, so after like 3 times, it's now $25. And I'm like, 25? Why did it go up? And it's a Ponzi. So I pay $25. Then the next time I go in, they wait till after they cut my hair and say it's $30. I said, wait a minute, you got to tell me that up front. It was $25. That's what I'm expecting. It's $30. I told them to fuck off, and I don't go back there. Now I go to a place that is consistently $20 and it's a nice cut. And I know when I walk in, it's $20. They're not going to Ponzi me. And now it's 30. After they cut my hair, they're going to tell me it's 30. Bobby, Professor, I meant to ask a silver gold question. Be my guest, Bobby. So obviously the coin store seller sells it to us at a premium. Well, not really a premium. He's selling it over spot, but they all get together to determine how much over spot they're going to sell it to us because they know spot is bullshit held by JP Morgan. So they know it's not a real number. It's a derivative number, and they're selling physical. And they are clueless of what they should be selling it for. Is there a certain premium percent, and how does it work when we sell it to them? So if you want to sell it back to them, there's no premium percent. They get together and they go, what are you selling it for? So they price fix it, right? So I just bought I bought the 2 quarter ounces, right? It cost me $5.76 a quarter ounce. So I bought these. Now, had I gone to Ann Arbor or these ones online, I would have paid $576. So they already have that together going, how much are you selling it for? Now, I know my store in Ann Arbor is a few dollars cheaper. It would have probably been $573. But is it worth an extra 20 minutes of drive to go there? And maybe he doesn't have it versus going to the store close to my house. I don't have to get on the highway, and for another dollar or two, big fucking deal. So now when we sell it back, we want to sell it on eBay or to each other. You want to sell it to me near the premium. So if it's 1900 and it's right now he's 160, so it's 1920, I just said. So he's going to sell it for 20, let's say 2080. So you want to sell yours, and we know it's 2080 at the coin store. And you know you're only going to get 1920 if you take it back to the coin store. They're going to give you a spot. We'll sit there and go, okay, Bobby, I'll give you 2,000. You make out and I make out, right? So it's Say's Law. We both are happy with the free trade where you get more than the spot and I pay less than the premium. And that's what we will do here is kind of group it up, and we'll say, okay, I want to sell gold. I'll sell it 50 under the premium, so you don't have to pay as much, and then I get more than the spot. Or you sell it on eBay where you would get the 2,000. You would get what they're selling it for. So that's your options on that, Bobby. But there's no percentage. Now, my guy's like 170 over spot. So if spot goes to 2,000, he's 2170. Spot goes down to 1,800, he's 1970. And that's for the Eagle, but not the Cougaran or the Maple Leaf or Philharmonic. I got a Philharmonic one to show you, Bobby. It's from Austria. You'd probably like that too. So that's how it works. These guys are so stupid. You're selling me a $50,000 gold ounce for $2,100, like all I can eat. And they don't understand. I went the other day, Bobby, and I bought another 1/10 of an ounce silver for $230 because I was at 50 and 976 ounces. I thought I got to 51 with the 2 quarters, gave me another half, did get me over. I was a fifth of an ounce short. So I bought another 1/10 of an ounce. Now I'm a fifth of an ounce over. And he's got his big silver bar in the counter, and he's like, I go, I'm surprised you still have this. He says, well, when silver hits $30, I won't have it anymore. And you know what my response was? Silver's already at 2,000. I don't know what you're waiting for, and I don't know why you keep trusting the derivative market instead of the reality of what Russia and China are doing. And the guy's like, he owns the fucking store and he doesn't get it. He just stays with derivative because that's what he knows and that's how it's always been. But it's not the same. You got the BRICS countries, you got everybody off the dollar and it's crashing. That's the difference. That's why gold and silver are going to go up. We have a difference. God. So anyway, Eric, I don't have Berkshire Hathaway stock. You have Fidelity with the company I work for. Oh, and in your 401k, then, Eric, you have Berkshire Hathaway, probably half shares. It's like Bitcoin. Nobody really has a coin. If it's what, $15,000, $16,000, you're not spending 15. I hope not on a Bitcoin. You probably buy a couple $100 worth, I would assume, but that's trouble also. So yeah, I would get out of stocks and into gold and silver. You can't lose. It's a no-brainer. Bobby, by the way, since you brought up ribs, have you ever had Korean food? I think it was Korean. Yeah. It's like Chinese, I believe. It's great. I'm having a rice noodle bowl with grilled chicken while listening. Share this variable economics now. Well, bon appetit, as we say in Europe, Bobby. Enjoy. I'm surprised you didn't get the General Chow like I showed you. You can call Detroit. Maybe they can deliver it to you. That's what the dentist did to me, Professor. They told me cleaning was a certain art. Then they started hitting me with all types of bullshit, costs from procedures that I didn't know I was getting. Oh, so like X-rays and stuff like that. Yeah. See, I haven't gotten my teeth clean in a while because I use the mouthwash and I gargle twice a day with the mouthwash in the morning and before bed. I haven't gotten a cavity in so long. Plus, I'm off sugar. Once you're off sugar and you use the mouthwash, you don't need cleaning because you ain't putting anything in your mouth that's going to fuck your teeth up because it's the sugar that kills your teeth and gives you the cavities. So if you are not eating sugar, you are not getting that stuff. I'm a nice guy, but I literally had no choice but to crumble up the invoice in front of the whole doctor's office and walked out in awkward silence and never went back. I don't blame you. That's like me with the haircut. You've got to tell me up front it's not 25, it's 30 now. And let me make the decision of Say's Law. Do I want to buy the product? It's like walking into Tesla and they don't tell you the price. You buy the car. By the way, that's 75,000. Well, no, I need to know the price before I buy it, not after I buy it. So I don't blame you, Bobby. They should have told you this is your cost. I don't know if they told you the cost of the cleaning, but they should have told you the other stuff. So when my guy goes, he raised his price from like $50 to $150. Now this is a friend of mine. He's a U of M guy. He gives me tickets to the football games. So he says it's $150 now, but he says I won't charge you for the X-rays because I bitched at him on $150 for a cleaning. And he starts saying, well, my gloves are more expensive. Go to Target and buy fucking gloves. Like, you don't need these gloves and don't pay for them. Say it's too expensive. Go to another supplier. Like we can substitute products. They can substitute products. So do you think GM just buys steel from the same place they bought it from and the price went up? Aren't they looking for a cheaper place? I mean, Jesus Christ, guys, bunch of fucking idiots. Bobby, woo. So it's that big of a difference from the spot price when selling. Well, if you are you see what it is, right? So if you want to buy, figure 2,100 today. The spot's 1920. The thing is, we know the spot's bullshit. The spot is the JP Morgan derivative price. It's the paper price. The gold price is 20 times higher than the paper price. We know that going in. They think by doing the premiums that they're getting to the physical price, but they're not even close because the derivative price is not real. They're selling 1 million ounces in fantasy land. There's nobody buying them. It's all a rigged game where JP Morgan sells them to themselves and they lower the price. There is nobody selling gold. Nobody in the world is selling ounces of gold, lowering the price. And when idiot people like this JP Morgan article I read or any of these bubbleheads sit there and go, well, look at gold went down or oil is going to be higher than gold. They're fucking clueless. That's them fucking with paper gold derivatives. Eric, if you are in ETFs for gold, get the fuck out. If you're in gold stocks, get the fuck out. You want to own silver and gold physical, and you don't have much time. You have to do this very quickly before the shit hits the fan and the price goes way up. And Russia and China are working on dollars that are going to be backed by gold. And once that happens, look the fuck out. It's going to go through the roof. Then you're going to be paying $30,000 for an ounce, not $1,800, $1,900. So you need to do this quickly. Silver. I didn't buy any silver, but I didn't see your Eagles there, Bobby. All those Eagles I showed you were pretty much gone. He had back to the Buffaloes. He lowered his price on the 2022 real money Eagles, the silver, $35. And he says the 23s will be a little bit more. And I go, who gives a fuck? Who's going to buy the 23s? I just assume buy the 22s at 35. So we did lower that. But again, you're buying an ounce of silver. You don't give a fuck that it's an eagle and it's actual money. It's worth $1. What are you going to do with that? $20 compared to $20 is a pretty significant drop, Professor. I am worried now. What are you talking about, $20? Gold went up $20. Sorry, I meant $20 compared to 28. What are you talking about, Bobby? What's 20 to 28? Silver's 28. Are you talking about the spot price? What are you talking about? Where's $20 coming from? Bobby. Oh, did my phone die? I didn't think my phone was that low. All right, got to charge the phone. What are you talking about, 20 and 20? I'm confused, Bobby. Yeah, I like buffaloes, but I am starting to wonder why they are the only silver coins that are consistently available. Are they the fat 50-year-old now? No. Well, okay. The U.S. men stopped printing the silver dollars. I meant 28 spot compared to them buying them. They don't buy them for 20. They buy them for 24. They mark them up to 28. So it costs them $24 to get the buffaloes, and I believe the U.S. Liberty actual coins. They mark the buffaloes up from 24 to 28 because if people want actual money, there won't be as big of a demand for that. Now, you've got to realize there's a whole shitload of silver out there. I mean, it's not as limited as gold. That's why it's cheaper. You've also got to realize they can go make it easier. The U.S. Mint hasn't been producing them, but they still have them. I mean, my guy had 20 ounces of the $35 Silver Eagle, but when you compare it, the Buffaloes are only 28 because they're not actual money. It's like you're buying an ounce of silver. So if you were to buy a silver bar, and I've shown you my 10-ounce bar, it's not money, but it's 10 ounces of silver. So what's the difference? We're looking at prices in silver being, right now, $24 an ounce for silver, which we know is phony. It's the derivative paper money. It's the JP Morgan price fix. It's not the real ounce of silver. That's going to come later. So what we're looking for is an actual market that gives you the prices of physical. That's what Russia's working on, is to give us the actual physical price of gold and silver, not the derivative bullshit fixed JP Morgan price. So that is my point. The actual physical price of silver is much, much higher than $24. You're able to buy it, the Buffalo, for 28. Why is there still there? Because it's easier to just print them, right? Only licensed dealers can print them. My guy's a licensed dealer. He gets it from the mint, but he can get these. But the normal coin store is not like this guy. They can't, if I went to my Ann Arbor guy, probably doesn't have any silver. Probably doesn't have a whole lot of gold. He's probably all sold out. Maybe I'll take a drive there and just see what he's got over the weekend or something. But this guy is like direct to the mint. So he's a big store, this guy. So for him to have, it's not a big deal. But, he came out with these new ones. I don't know if they're 23, these Liberties I showed you. But it's fine. As long as I can still get them for $28, do we not think the ounce of gold? See, it's not even that we think it's going to go up. It's we are waiting for the physical market to take shape to get the 2,000 an ounce physical price of silver, not the paper derivative bullshit price fixed price. It's apples and oranges, right? They're selling 1 million ounces of silver on a derivative that they don't have. They're not even selling silver. It's paper. Here, I'm selling 1 million ounces of silver with this piece of paper. There's the sale. And I'm going to sell it at $20. Now the price just went down. I don't have an ounce of silver with this. So how am I selling silver if I don't have the ounces? I'm selling this paper bullshit. That's what's controlling the price. I'm saying in the marketplace, the demand for gold and silver is up here and the price is down there. And in every other aspect, the price should be where the demand is. And the demand is huge with all the inflation and all these dollars going out. That's what I'm telling you. So don't worry about, well, he still has buffaloes and he's still like, he doesn't have any more. Well, there's a lot of silver in the world. They mine it when they mine gold. They kind of mistakenly pull silver out. There's not a lot of silver mines because it's not worth it. It's too expensive to do it, but they do get silver from other places. The difference is silver wears out. You don't have any silver from the Roman Empire, right? We have gold from the Roman Empire because it's indestructible. Silver gets used up. When they put silver in these electric batteries and the battery goes, the silver goes. So you've lost it. So yeah, there's a lot more silver than gold. That's why the price is lower, but we're still not at a physical price. That's what you have to remember and understand. Don't worry about it. Now, the fact they're coming out with these silver blanks, which aren't money, but they're an ounce of silver, like my Highland Mints, like my Joe Montana Highland Mint 1 ounce silver coin, right? I have those. They're not money either, but the ounce of silver and Joe Montana's face make it about a $75 coin. I got a Michael Jordan one that's worth $150. I got a Kobe Bryant one. He dies and all his values go up. So I get lucky there. Emmett Smith, Jerry Rice, those are all worth like $75, even though an ounce of silver's what, $30, $35. So it doesn't matter. You're buying an ounce of silver because if you look at the price of silver and it's, let's say it's $100 an ounce now, it's for the ounce of silver. It doesn't have to be the money or the Jerry Rice or the buffalo. They're all the same. I want an ounce of silver that's going to protect me. So that's really what you've got to keep that on. Silver futures. Yeah, again, that's Eric. That's just phony. JP Morgan manipulating it. And all the Russians and the Chinese and the Indians are buying it at that price, laughing all the way to the bank going, I can't believe this is this cheap. Thank you, God. And then you're making the West rich, which almost makes me believe JP Morgan is run by the Russian mafia, is because he's keeping the price low so Russia and China and India and Saudi Arabia and those countries can buy it. The U.S. is too stupid to buy it because we just want, so we keep printing money thinking it won't go anywhere, but the whole world's saying, fuck you. And they're all getting out of it. And then the money will have no value because nobody wants it. And that's when the gold, and he with the gold makes the rules, as we all know. So we're all fucked unless we can speak Chinese and Russian and we want to be communist, which we don't. Then you want to be a slave and nobody wants to be a slave. That's my scary thought. It's like the example you often use for women when the fat 50-year-old is always around and the hot 20-year-old. No, this isn't like the currencies like that. Silver is the hot 20-year-old. There's no difference between the buffalo and eagle as far as the buffalo is not the 50-year-old. She's maybe a 25-year-old. So she's a hot 25-year-old versus the eagle being the hot 20-year-old. That's kind of your comparison because in the end, silver's at $2,000 an ounce. The buffalo is still going to be worth $2,000 and the eagle is going to be worth $2,000. So they'll both be the hot 20-year-olds when the shit hits the fan. It's not like nobody's going to want it. They will want silver like they want gold. The difference with gold is you really don't have these bullion pieces. Well, you do. There's Swiss, the little bars, right? You get the thin bars. There's 1 ounce bars in the plastic case. So those are like the bullion, the Swiss 1 ounce bars. So, or the James Bond big bars. Do you think the James Bond big bar is the fat 50-year-old because it's not a coin? And I'm gonna laugh at you if you do, because there's nothing wrong with the big bar of the James Bond Goldfinger Gold. That's still what? Let's say it's a ton. That's 32,000 ounces. Yeah, you can give me that all day, and I'm going to go retire. So no, don't get caught up into the bullion, and it has to be a coin, and it has to be the actual money. Gold. What do you think the central banks have? What do you think Russia? What do you think Putin has in his hidden little basement? He's got big fucking bricks. He doesn't have the little ounce coins that are. Oh, this is a Liberty. It's a U.S. He's got big fucking bars of the James Bond stuff. It's bullion. It's not money, but the fact that it is gold is what keeps it value. Jesus Christ, that's the value. Is that it's an ounce of gold and it's real, and the buffaloes are an ounce of silver and they're real. You're not thinking fifth dimensional now, McFly. You've got to understand that's a bad compare. The comparison is the silver to the money to this. That's the 50-year-old. The silver's the 20-year-old. Different types of silver, as you know, because you're buying kangaroos and everything. They're all the 20-year-old, right? Any type of silver is the 20-year-old. It's in huge demand, and people are buying it, waiting in lines. But the gold stores don't know how to value it, and they get together and they go, "Oh, well, we'll sell it for 28." And I laugh. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you guys are fucking idiots. And I'll tell them that to their face. I go to the owner, "You're a fucking idiot." He's waiting for gold to silver to hit 30 to take his big James Bond bar and melt it down and make coins out of it. And I laugh at the guy going, it's probably at 500 an ounce right now. What are you talking about when it hits 30? They don't understand the difference. They don't understand derivative versus physical. It's unfucking believable. These are guys that own a coin store. Well, they own a jewelry store. They're all fucking clueless. They all think that the derivative price is the real price. And it's just a phony make-believe Disney price. It's not real. That's why we are buying it and anticipating the real physical price, which is through the roof based on demand. It all comes back to Austrian economics. Bobby. Oh, okay. So there are more buffaloes in circulation compared to other mints. Well, no, but here they're going to sell buffaloes. I doubt if you're in England, they're selling the buffaloes. They're probably selling a Queen Elizabeth like that. Or there's a Trump like that, right? There's a Trump silver you could buy. It's the same as the buffalo. You don't have to buy the buffalo or the eagle I showed you last week. That's bullion too. That's not the real. Don't get hung up on it's money and it's not money. You're buying an ounce of silver. That's all you care about. Not the money. We don't care about a 1930 MS-70 Mercury dime. We don't care about it. Although if you do have a Mercury dime, or you do have a $50 that's silver, or you do have a quarter that's silver from the 30s and the 40s, when gold hits $2,000 an ounce, that Mercury dime is going to be through the roof also. I do have one Mercury dime. I used to have a few. I guess my brother probably stole them. He's a thief, that guy. That's what you have is you have any silver is going to go through the roof. So the Mercury dime's worth a dime, but it isn't, right? Mine's worth like $8, but as silver goes, that Mercury dime is going to be worth, $800 because it's a tenth of an ounce or whatever. But the tenth of an ounce golds I just bought, when it hits 50,000, it'll be worth 5,000. I just paid $200 for it. That's the strategy that we're using here. If we ran a football team, our team would win the Super Bowl every year because we would not let's run up the middle on first down and not gain yardage. And then let's pass from the 2-yard line 4 times and wonder why we can't score. We would be doing the Dave Casper play. I would be second down. I'd be play action pass into the middle and then kind of rolling out. And my tight end would be open by 30 yards in the end zone. And then I would switch it up, sometimes on first down, sometimes on third down. But that would be my play anytime I'm inside the 2-yard, or anytime I'm down, let's say inside the 5, that play would be one of the 4 I'm running. And I wouldn't go for fourth down in my own 20-yard line like the fucking Packers did. We would not do anything stupid on my team. I see what you're saying, Professor. This is Bobby again. A good way to clarify. So the U.S. dollar is going to become the fat 50-year-old. That's what I've been saying. Absolutely. Oh, shit. I hope the professor didn't drop his avocado. No, I already ate this one. I got to eat this one, but I didn't drop that one. I made the mistake. I went to the grocery store the other day and I bought like 10 avocados, and they're all too hard to eat. I can't even get a knife into them. So I had to go last night to another grocery store where they were at least soft enough to cut into and use the spoon on them. The others are going to take 4 or 5 days till they soften up. So when you buy real hard avocados, you cannot cut into them and you cannot get your spoon into them. You leave them out on a tray and let them air out for a few days. Then you put them in your fridge. And then I just eat one a day. But I couldn't eat my avocado. I was so frustrated because I wanted to eat my avocado. No, I just dropped this. But that's how you got to think about it, Bobby. It's the dollar that nobody wants. So again, it comes back to economics. Women come back to economics. Money comes back to economics. Everything comes back to Austrian free market economics, Adam Smith. And that's what this is. You have the dollar, and the Russians say, fuck you. And the Chinese say, fuck you. And the Saudis say, fuck you. They all say, I don't want it. So the dollar's here and the demand is here. You got a problem when there's no demand for your product. And that's what you got to figure. This is a product. And the demand by 33 countries is, I don't want it. Then you've got these BRICS countries, and the demand, now they're going to come out with a dollar backed by gold. And now all of a sudden you've got 33 countries, soon to be 50, soon to be 100, where nobody is going to play with the U.S. because between sanctions and the high interest rates, we're fucking everybody over. So Powell is saying it's due to the inflation, which, again, these morons are saying, oh, look, the prices are coming down, and they missed the whole boat of inflation being you're devaluing the money by printing too much. How does higher interest rates do anything for that? But fuck every other country who has to be in dollars to buy other currencies and to buy oil are all fucked, so they're all getting out. And you'll see Powell lower interest rates as everybody goes to BRICS, and the BRICS dollar is going to come out. It's going to be on all these countries are in this dollar, but this dollar is backed by gold, not backed by crap. This is backed by air. Their dollar is going to be backed by gold, and then they'll get more people in it. And then everybody will want their dollar, and the demand for their dollar backed by gold goes through the roof, and everybody will want it. We don't need their dollar. We just buy the gold and silver from the store. But this dollar will be replaced by a new dollar so we can go to Target and Kroger's, because like my girlfriend doesn't understand, we're not going to take an ounce of gold to buy coffee. We're going to take the ounce of gold to buy whatever new currency and then take part of the currency to buy the coffee. But the gold will buy us more currency than what we're going to get. So you have $100,000 in your bank, you're fucked. You'll never get it out. But when they switch currencies, it'll be worth 50,000. Versus if you had gold, the gold will buy you 200,000. That's the difference. So that's really what the gold comes in. It'll buy you more of the new currency once the shit goes through the roof, where your dollar will buy you less. So you want to be in the asset that you'll get more dollar. Now, eventually, gold will not be priced in dollars. It'll be priced in gold. And, that's so don't worry. Oh, my God, the dollar's going out. Keep in mind, there'll never be a digital dollar in America. You will have it in some of these smaller countries, but because Congress has to vote, and Congress is run by J.P. Morgan and the rest of the Nazis, they will never give up printing money for digital dollars. It will never happen. So we don't have to worry about digital dollars here. We'll just replace our dollars. They'll blame the Russian war. It's Putin, so we got to replace the currency. He caused the inflation. No, you guys printed the dollar to death. You caused the inflation, but you won't say it's printing the dollar. you'll say it's prices, and the prices went up because of Putin and the oil and this and the supply chain and all this shit that is just lies and lies. They make Madoff look like a good guy. But again, idiots believe Madoff. They believe the SEC didn't know anything about Madoff. They believe JP Morgan didn't know anything about Madoff. And the four rich guys didn't know anything about Madoff. Okay. See, I think that's why they killed that one guy. There was one guy who died in his pool right after Madoff got convicted. And they call it a heart attack. No, it was the same thing as in Clemenza dying. It wasn't a heart attack. They killed him because he knew, and they knew he would talk and no loose ends. So they killed him because he knew it was probably all of their Ponzi scheme. It was not Madoff did not have the idea alone. Give me a fucking break. That's ridiculous. So if you watch it, just keep in mind that they were all in on it. It's very easy to, point A to point B to point. If you use logic like I do, you figure everything out. That's how I figure out the football games. That's how I figure out poker. That's how I figure out what's going on here. So that is what's going on. What else is there? So when you read JP Morgan saying, oh, next year is going to be fine, you have to just, it's from JP Morgan. That's like it's coming from the Nazis. I better not listen to it. Anybody that says inflation's going down is fucking out of their minds. Anybody that says 2023 is going to be a better year is out of their fucking minds. We are in a recession, more probably a depression. Once you see unemployment go up, you will see the shit hit the fan. I keep reading that like Walmart's closing stores, but I don't know what's going on with that. That could just be them closing stores because people are using Amazon online. If you close a store because of competition, or let's say my rib guy closes a store because he needs to charge $40 for ribs and he starts charging it and nobody buys it, he's got to go out of business. Did he go out of business because of the inflation, or did he go out of business, because it was a smart move? Probably because it was a smart move, but he needs to get away from ribs and sell maybe steaks and hamburgers and chicken there. He does sell steaks and he does sell fish. I never get it at a barbecue place. I've gotten the steak before. It was good. And it wasn't that expensive. I wonder how much that is. But I usually make my own steaks, so I don't normally eat them at restaurants. Ribs are a little different. I will get the ribs. I'm getting a hankering for the chicken and ribs. Maybe I'll go get that tomorrow. Although my guy's there today. The Russian guy's there tomorrow. And I don't know. There's something about him. I like the other guy. We talk gold and silver more. So I don't know. But anyway, that's what's happening. We're all, if you don't have gold and silver, you're totally fucked. I mean, that's all I can say. You have to understand what's happening. They're printing it. They're printing this to death. So you have to understand the only bailout's gold and silver. If you think stocks and you understand inflation is you're fucking the money up, you would never be in a stock because they'll never make profit because their costs go up unless they can substitute. So Ford and GM are fucked anyway, all the car makers, because they have too much fixed costs and too much plant and equipment, and they can't sell enough because no interest rates are much higher because of inflation. Because I want to get paid back, and I if I'm going to loan Bobby 10 grand, I want to make 10%. So I want him to give me 11,000. But with inflation, I can't say give me 1,000 in interest. I could ask for 5,000 in interest to get my 11,000 back from Bobby because the value of the money is dropping in dollars. This is the part nobody seems to get. Warren Buffett, he's holding his money in dollars. What the fuck would you do that for? So your $2 billion in dollars is now worth $1 billion because you just lost half your value because the dollar's dropping. So you could hold $10 billion in dollars times zero is going to give you zero because the dollar is going to not have any value. And, and it just takes a little bit more. It's taken time, but now we're at the end. And it's all the Russian, Chinese, it's all the plan. They went to war to do the whole thing is just planned out beautifully. The war is fake. They go to war to do the blockage or whatever I call it. The fuck Russia. God, I can't think of that word. Anyway, so they do that, and then Russia and China go to the gold standard as a way of saying, you're fucking us, so we're going to go to it. They tried to do it in 2014, and the U.S. threatened war on China if Chinese announced they were going on the gold standard or announced they had 30,000 tons of gold. They said, that's war. We're gonna go to war with you. Can you believe this? They're going to war over the fact that they actually have gold. So China didn't do it, but now they're at the point where it's like, fuck you. You don't fight Russia, and you're not going to fight us. And Biden's in charge, who's, backed by the Chinese, so he's not going to do anything. Eric, you said if somebody had 100K in the bank, they wouldn't be able to get it out. Can you touch into that subject matter? Yeah, Eric. Well, first of all, the banks don't actually have anything in the bank, right? The banks have zero reserves. A reserve is your money. So if I go today and give them $100,000, it would not be in the bank tomorrow. They would lend it out or take it because now it's their money. And what they normally would do is lend it out, right? I'm going to lend out this $100,000 and make 5% or 6% on it, selling mortgages or car loans or whatever, or a small business loan. It's not there. Now I go back for it. I don't have it, Howard. We can give you $10,000 and maybe, in the next couple of weeks, maybe 10 more as the dollar. Now, so if you tried to get $100,000 out today, you wouldn't be able to do it. Maybe you'd get $15,000 out. Then you go back next week. Maybe you can get another $15,000 out. It depends when they get their supply of money, but it's not there. There is no $100,000 in Eric's account that we have in our safe or in our vault that's sitting there that says, Eric, this is the same thing with the ETFs. If you own 50 ETFs, so you think you have 50 ounces of gold, there is no 50 ounces of ETF gold with Eric's name on it. There's nothing there. It's a Ponzi scheme, the ETFs. You buy it thinking it's physical. There's no physical. There is no gold. Now shit hits the fan and you go, well, I know I got 50 ounces of gold in ETFs. Give it to me. They're not going to give you anything. They don't have it. There's nothing to give you. You're fucked if you have ETFs. The only thing you can do is actually go buy it and then have it in your hand, and you have it. You do not put it in a security deposit box in a bank because the banks will close up and you won't be able to get to your box. So you either own a safe or you go to a U-Haul store and you rent a locker and you put it in there, something that they won't be able to do. Or you go to Switzerland and there's a bank with a vault 10 miles down. So if they nuke them, it won't affect it. You take an elevator ride down. That's the safest place you can be with your gold and silver is in this big vaulted bank in Switzerland. Do not trust any of the places here that you'll get it out. Your best just to hold it on yourself. And as I've said, I'll put it in a Cool Whip container in my freezer. And if a thief comes in, you think he's going to go through my freezer and go to my Cool Whip container to see my gold? There's no fucking way. So that's kind of what you do. But the banks do not hold your money. Maybe you can get it out now, but there'll be bank runs. You got to understand, once people realize the dollar's fucked and they do a good job hiding it, oh no, everything's fine. Look at it, it's a rosy, JP Morgan. No, 2023 is going to be fine. No, buy stock. They're all going to go up and bonds and da. This guy's out of his fucking mind. This guy doesn't understand it. Well, the problem is, besides you guys and me, nobody understands Austrian economics. which is laissez-faire, which is individual, which we understand inflation, which is created by the government. They print the money. The Fed prints the money. The more they print, the less it's worth. Therefore, unless you understand that concept, you think the Keynesians, which are the communists, think they can just print and print and print. So there's Austrian economics and Keynesian economics. Keynesian economics is communism. They want the government to run everything. We like Austrian economics because then it's freedom for the individual, not the government. And that's the problem. So we understand we want to be free. We want to be individuals to think and do what we want and have sound money, which that's not what they're doing. So by printing and printing and printing, they ruin the money. As people become more aware of it, as inflation spikes and all these problems come out, what happens? People run to the bank. I better get my money out. Go back to 1930 Germany. You ran to the bank to get your money out, and the only problem is there's no money in the bank to get out. They were printing billions and billions of dollars a day in 1930 Germany. And the more they printed, the less it was worth. People started to get paid at lunch hour, and they'd go to the store and buy their milk and tuna and bread. And at 5 o'clock, the job would be over. They'd get paid again, whatever they got paid, and they run back to the store. So they were buying up front. I better buy now before the price goes up. Again, there was really no market. There was a market, but they were just panicking, right? That's hyperinflation. You panic. And that's what's going to happen once people realize the inflation's out there. What do? They start, I better go buy toilet. I saw with the COVID. I'm at Meijer's grocery store, and there's this, young lady with a couple of kids. So she's probably 30, and she's got like 8 things of toilet paper. And I go to her, "What the fuck are you doing?" "Oh, I gotta buy it before it runs out." And I'm like, okay, seriously, at this point, don't worry about it. And so here she's buying 8 things of toilet paper because she's worried with COVID they will run out of toilet paper. That is it's irrational. And what will happen? People will stop using ration. They'll get excited. They'll panic, much like these spreads, like Buffalo going up to 5.5. People are buying it before it goes up higher. And I'm sitting there going, I'm taking Cincinnati. I hope it goes up to 7. I'll bet more on Cincinnati. People panic, and that's why the lines move, and that's why the money moves, and that's why the bank runs happen. So if you look at what happened in Sri Lanka, and you look what happened in Greece, and you look what happened in Pakistan, you had bank runs. People get emotional, have bank runs. So they'll want their money. Now the bank, as I said, doesn't keep any of your reserves. You have 100,000 in there. There is not 100,000 with Eric's name on it or Professor's name or Bobby's name. We don't have a nickel in the bank that we think we have. We use it. So you keep enough to pay your bill. So I got rent. Okay. It's $1,500. Okay. I keep $1,500. I go run back and put in another $1,500. Okay. There, I just paid rent. So you have to understand, it's sort of, what was the scam? Well, it's like the Madoff thing. It's the same as the Madoff. So the Ponzi scheme of Madoff was, as long as everybody doesn't ask for the money at the same time, I'm fine because I'm getting more money in than is leaving. That's the Ponzi scheme, because these rich guys from Europe are putting in $1 million, and as long as people don't need the money, I can, then I get $500,000 in. I got the $1 million in to pay the $500,000 out. Everybody's happy. Nobody wants to pull their money because we're all making 20%. So everybody leaves the money in. But what happened at 2008? The price, the crisis, the housing crisis hits, the stock market crashes. Everybody needs their money. Goes to Madoff. Madoff had $1 billion out. He had no money in. That's what killed the Ponzi scheme. And the rich guys would not give him the money. That's what happened. So the rich guy's running the scam. He says, I need $1 billion. He said, fuck you. I'm not giving you a nickel. So he couldn't get money in to pay it off. So if we transfer Madoff to the banks are Madoff. They don't have your money. You give them money, but they don't have it. then what happens is they can get a little bit. So if you get it individually, they have it. But if everybody runs to the bank at the same time saying, I need my 100 grand, I need my 50, I need my money, you're fucked because they won't have it because they don't keep it. It's a lot like Social Security. We put in 7.65, our employer matches it. Instead of having an account, Professor, Bobby, here's your money is in your account. They just put it in and they pay other people with it. Talk about a Madoff. That's exactly what Social Security is. They're taking my money and paying somebody else. And then when I get older and I need it, then they pay me. Then I get money as long as there's money coming in to pay me. That's why I don't count on it, because I know it's a scam. It's the same Ponzi scheme as Madoff. It's amazing how many Ponzi schemes are out there and how stupid people are. But when the government runs it, you really don't have a say in it. They just take it out of my check and my employer matches it, and there's nothing I can do. So if we all run to the bank and me and Bobby and Eric run and we want our money, they don't have it. They'll get a little of it in. But if enough people are bank running and saying, I want my money, I want my money, I'm panicking, inflation's really high, they lied to us, I don't have gold and silver, then you're not going to get your money out because of the bank run. And that's what's happened in these other countries. And that's, look at Greece, bank runs, look at China, they don't even let you in the banks. So you have these, what are bank runs, which simply is the Ponzi scheme is up. They don't have money to pay you. I'll get to you in a minute, Bobby. And so that's why I say that. Yeah, if you gave them 100,000 today, it wouldn't be there tomorrow. And you said, well, I need 20 grand of it. They might give you 10 or 15, whatever they have. And then they'd call for more. And as long as there isn't more people asking, they can probably get you another 15. And, it'll take you about 5-6 weeks to get your 100 grand out because they don't have 100 grand in cash. Provided there's no bank run and not everybody's asking for it. As soon as that happens, which will happen, you're fucked. You'll maybe get 10 or 15 out. If you look at what happened in China, China closed all their banks. All the banks in China were closed last spring. That's why they have the housing crisis going on. And that's why China's broke, is because everybody went to the bank to get their money out because of the housing collapse of Evergrande. Banks didn't have the money. They closed the banks and said, fuck you. People cannot get into the bank to get their money out. So the people said, fuck you. We're not paying our mortgages. So in 93 countries in China, nobody's paying their mortgage. They can't get their money out of the bank. And unless you have gold and silver in China, you're fucked. And then China's collapsing because their whole industry is based on housing, because the stock exchange in China is so fixed and the government's so corrupt that nobody puts their money in stocks. They all put it in real estate, as you guys like to say, and they bought these buildings, these high rises, which were phony. They were never complete. There was the outside of the building. There was nothing inside. So Evergrande fucked everybody over by taking their money and never building the house. So imagine you go into your house. There's no walls. There's no electricity. There's no water. You open the door. There's just the shell of the house. That's what China did. They fucked everybody over. The banks won't let you get your money. Everybody's fucked in China, so they're not paying their mortgage. And the whole country collapsed. So basically, they're heavily in debt, except for the 40,000 tons of gold they have, which they're waiting for to go up. Once it goes to 30, 40,000 an ounce, the physical price, then they're okay, as Russia has to pay for the war. So you got the two biggest mafias, Russia and China, with all this gold needing it to go up in price. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? Going to go up in price. So that's what's in our back pockets, right? So Bobby, tomorrow morning I will be ordering more silver maples and kangaroos. Bon appetit. I agree, Professor. They're all a bunch of crooked pricks who deserve a kick in the ass. Eric, this is crazy. Thanks. You're welcome. Yeah, I mean, it's all, that's really where Madoff got the idea from, was Social Security And what the banks do, he said, well, fuck, they're doing it, I'll do it. And that's all it is. A Ponzi scheme is Bobby giving me money and I give it to Eric. And I don't do anything with the money. That was the amazing thing about Madoff. He never bought a stock. In the 30 years this went on, he never once bought a stock. And then he faked all the reports to make it look like he bought GM and Chrysler and whatever, IBM. He never bought one share. Now, the amazing part is he had the 17th floor and the 19th floor. The 19th floor was legit. He made trades. It was a regular business, which leads you to why he would do a Ponzi scheme. If he's got a successful business, he wouldn't. He was the figurehead. He says he did it. It was the four guys, JP Morgan and the SEC, who ran the Ponzi scheme. That's why when he's caught, what does the SEC do? And if you've watched this Madoff on Netflix, you'll understand what I'm saying. 5 times they audited him, and 5 times they said, we don't see anything. Because they were in on it. They were paid off. They're not going to expose themselves because they're probably getting $1 billion from the Ponzi scheme themselves. So they're going to cut themselves off. They're not going to kill the goose laying the golden egg. The 4 rich guys aren't doing it. The lady from Europe's not doing it. And JP Morgan, we know how much of a crook he is. He'll never do it. So why would anybody kill the goose laying the golden egg? They wouldn't. So Madoff wants to sound like, he did it all. It's just bullshit. He had very little to do with it. He basically was the front. And that's why he would say, don't tell anybody, and you can't tell the name. And, that's why it was all secret. Me, when I pick winners, I'm like, go tell everybody about the Teaser King. I want 1 million customers. But he's making all this money, and he's saying, don't tell anybody. What the fuck was that all about? I'm guessing credit cards is a Ponzi also. No, because it's a loan, basically. You're not giving the credit cards money. So they give you a $20,000 limit, right? If you don't spend it, you don't owe them. Now you go on a trip to Hawaii and you spend $5,000. You owe Chase $5,000. They've lent you the money. So it's a loan. Then they charge you whatever interest on it if you don't pay it off in a certain time. That's how a credit card is. So it's not a Ponzi where if you don't use it, you don't pay, but you're not paying them for nothing. You've got the limit. You got the credit limit of $20,000, which if you don't use, you don't owe them, versus giving them $20,000 to hold for you. That's a different story. The banks are Ponzi's because they don't keep your money. They immediately get it out and loan it out. There used to be a 10%. That's really one way to stop inflation, is increasing the reserve requirement to 20 or 30% would stop inflation or slow it down. But with 0%, if you give me $100,000, I don't have any. It's gone. Sorry, Eric. I don't have a nickel for you. Now I get money in from the Federal Reserve. I keep $20,000 over here. You come in, I'll give you 10. I might need 10 for other people. If I run out, I'll say, well, I'm getting another shipment of money in next week. We'll put your name on it. When I go in, I tend to ask for like 10 to 15,000. So when I was initially doing it, I'd ask for 15 and I'd get it, but I wouldn't go too high. I never tried to get 50. I just give me 15 and I'd get the 15. I'd go buy my gold. So I take the money, and my guy wanted cash. Here's your cash. And I walk out with 7 to 8 ounces of gold. And I slept really good those days, Bobby. When you have the actual, your first real gold eagles, you just smile and you know all's right in the world, and you're very protected, and you live a happy long life with that. And then you start buying the other, the quarters and the halves and the dimes for the girlfriends. So the girlfriend gets a 1/4 ounce and some silver, and she's really happy. And because I don't want to start giving ounces away to the girlfriends, but if I can give them a 1/4 ounce, they're really happy with a 1/4 ounce because you gave them gold. It's better than roses and candy. So on Valentine's Day, Bobby, your girlfriend should get like 5 ounces of silver. But you got to man up and start buying some silver, not 50 ounces. You need to add a zero to that. You need 500 ounces because you got girlfriends that you're going to have to help out. It's just not you. When the shit hits the fan, what are you going to do with your girlfriend? You're not going to help her? Now, maybe you'll take care of her, but if you got more than one girl, here's 5 ounces, here's 5 ounces, here's 5 ounces. So I talked to my friend in Romania yesterday. One in the morning, she starts WhatsApping me, but again, that's 8 in the morning. And she's like 7 months pregnant. And I keep asking her, are you having a C-section or through, normal? She says, no, I'm having it normal. She says, yeah, the inflation's really bad here. The prices are really high. We haven't gotten a raise since 2019. So they tell how much you make at your job, which is fucking crazy. Our market is the employer tells us. The government in Romania and Ukraine and Russia say this is how much you're making. And they set the prices. So she's like, prices are really high. We can't get a raise since 2019. She's just looking forward to having the baby. It's due March 20th. So I'm going to go there with some gold for her after she has the baby, if we can still fly there and help her out there. The mother and father own a farm. The father has died, unfortunately. So I'm going to go there and give her some silver and get some chickens and some beef and some veggies before the shit hits the fan. So I might live there just so I got a food source, because I don't know what's going to happen here. I just keep hearing the grocery stores are going to be out of food, and go find farms and go, be careful of uprising, and poor people are not sane and are very emotional. So you got to be very careful about that you take people's money away and they get hungry. Look the fuck out, man. It's going to be heavy alcohol use, and it's going to be like Russia, right? People don't have money there. They buy the vodka because it's cheap, and they're all drunks, and there's a lot of, or you go into the mafia, and that's Russia. So you're either really poor or you're in the mafia, and they're all fucked up. They're all drink the vodka and just try to survive. So you feel very but I know people there, so you feel very bad for them that they don't have the same quality of life we can. So when I hear people bitching at the gym, I just look at them and I go, just be glad you don't live in fucking Russia. Like, you think you got it so bad here, or your boyfriend did this or that. Like, give me a fucking break. Hey, Phil, why on earth would you date a pregnant woman? I'm not dating her. She's my good friend. I met her years ago. We're best friends. She got married. It was either stay friends with her or don't talk to her again. Well, I love her. She loves me. So we keep in touch. I'm not dating her. I didn't get her pregnant. She's got a husband. She's got a very nice family. And, it's not like I go visit her, but we keep in touch on WhatsApp. So I help her out. Her dad died. I helped her with the funeral and stuff like that. But no, I'm not dating her. And, I date the Ukrainian girl and the Russian girl. I don't date the Romanian girl. But, I told her I'd marry her if she got divorced, and she wants to, but there's something going on with the husband. In Romania, it's strange in that part of the world if she's bought or whatever her story is. But no, she's we don't like date. We just are very close. It's like you guys, right? We're friends, and that's kind of the relationship I have with her. I suppose if the pregnant woman and the husband left and you loved her, you'd date her. I don't see what's wrong with that. They're just people. I mean, if they got pregnant, what do you do with them? But if you love somebody, you like spending time with them, you like talking to them. I don't really see the problem with that. What's up, Phil? Are you late again, buddy? No, Phil was on earlier. He must have left and come back. Well, Bobby, you owe me and Phil 10 ounces of silver for missing yesterday's class. We agreed on that was the penalty for missing the class, was 10 ounces of silver each. So we'll expect that in the next day or two. Not your Korean food or your pig's ears. We want silver. My guy's got some nice Chinese silver. I was going to take a picture of it for you. I keep joking to my guys at the coin store. I says, my friend would love it here. You got like 20 varieties of silver, pandas and Chinese buildings. And I think I saw a Russian one and all that shit. You'd love it. YouTube doesn't send me notifications. Oh, come on, Bobby. Everybody else gets the notification, but you? Phil, I've been here just working and listening. Can't chat much. Understand, Phil. I know you've been on. You were here earlier. So why don't you do the notification and undo it and do it again or something? But you seem to be the only one with that problem, Bobby. Everybody else says we know when you're on and that. But I came on about 11:30 today. 2.5 hours. It's 2:00. So I came on early today. I check in and it shows no live. Then all of a sudden an hour and it says live. Oh, okay. Like I said, try clicking off the notification and clicking back on or something like that. But, normally it's about noon right now. 11:30 today, noon 12:30. Depends. Like I told you, I was getting the oil change Monday and I came on later. But that. So I have a good time when I go to Toyota. I laugh at the Bitcoin guy. The Bitcoin guy is the sales manager, and then my guy's the finance manager. And he's got the gold, and we talk Vegas. So it's a nice conversation piece, the gold. You ever see a nice-looking girl and you want to go talk to her, just bring up gold, say, I got gold. Then she'll like you for sure. You won't give her any, but you'll just say it. But keep in mind, everything's competition. Women are competition. The currency's competition. Toyota's competition. Everything's competition. And you try to excel. So when I do football, I know I've got competition, but I blow them all away because I actually pick winners. And I actually give you the reasons why I pick the winners. So you walk away going, fuck yeah, he knows what he's doing. Hey, Craig and John, how are you? Let's look at the lines one more time. So gold's up to $19.25, up $18. So let me show you the line from 10 o'clock, right? So 10 o'clock it drops, right? You can see the 10. You can see the drop. And then look where it's gone up. It's now 12:25. But just notice the pattern every day at 10 o'clock, which is that spike in the middle. So you can see 10 o'clock spike. You can see it drop. And then it goes up. And it happens every fucking day. All right, let's look at the lines one more time. Though I'm not expecting a big change. Come on. All right. KC 8.5, 52.5. No line movement. Philly 7.5, 48.5. No line movement. Buffalo 5.5, 48.5. Up from 4.5. And Frisco 3.5, 45.5. And when I go into the matchup to look at the other casinos on this one, it's all fours. Here we go. So 3.5, and then at two casinos, it's 4 again. So I don't know what they're fucking around with. A couple more 3.5s, a couple more 4s. This might be the consensus, or this is actually FanDuel, I believe. So keep that in mind. It's going back to 4. Why it went to 3 was a Madoff moment where they lowered it so somebody could bet and lay 3 with Frisco. Now it's back to 3.5, 4, because these aren't teaser players. The teaser player we've got, my bet's already in at Frisco +2. I'll take Brock Purdy. I'm not worried about Brock Purdy having a bad game. I like how MGM tries to scare you. So this is what they do, right? It's just the same thing with the economy. They try to scare you like, oh, the economy will be fine next year. Get back in stocks. They're selling you, right? Avocado time. So they do the same. If you listen to BetMGM, what do? They're scaring you. Wow, Brock Purdy, this is the game he won't play well. The fuck you talking about? He played well against Seattle. That would have been the game. He got nervous. He didn't get nervous. He didn't get nervous clinching the division. Why the fuck would he be nervous against Dallas of all teams? I could see him being nervous in the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow wasn't nervous in the Super Bowl last year, and he dismantled Kansas City, and he dismantled, he beat KC, gave him the balls, then he goes and plays the Rams, should have won that game. So I don't see Brock Purdy folding the tent because they're playing Dallas. He'll just give the ball to, McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel, and he's fine. So I got 27-17, and I'm not sure. Let me give you my predictions. KC 37-24, Philadelphia 27-20, Cincinnati 34-31, and Frisco 27-17. And I'm not even sure that Frisco game will be that close. I'm not sure Dallas will be able to get 17 points. They'll have a flashback of the Washington game when they got a whole 6 on Washington. And Prescott played, 3.5 quarters of that game. He couldn't get him. He couldn't score on fucking Washington. He's going to light up the Niners. That defense? Are you kidding me? Bucks fired offensive guy. The Bucks should have fired the whole coaching staff. They should have never hired them. And then now, why did they wait till now? Why didn't they fire him after 3 weeks when they saw that he sucked, and then bring in a good guy, to finish the season for Brady? Now you're firing him after they've got fucked in the playoff game because the idiot can't fucking call plays. We're at the 2-yard line. He throws 4 passes at the 2-yard line, and you think you're going to score a touchdown? You need to run the ball in from the 2. Sorry, folks. And you need to run the Dave Casper play. So don't give me this shit. He goes back to throw 4 times from the 2, and you wonder why they don't score. The other time he threw the interception. Well, if you could have just run the ball in, you won't need the interceptions, and they would have gotten 14 more points and possibly won the game. Put a little pressure on Prescott. We know he chokes when the pressure's on. So good news, Greg. Thank you. So that's football. Again, it's going to be Frisco at Philly in the NFC and Cincinnati at Kansas City in the AFC. That'll be your championship game, and it should be Cincinnati, Frisco in the Super Bowl, and I'll take the dog there. So I got really good dogs next week. I'll have Cincinnati as a good dog against KC, and I'll have Frisco as a good dog against Philly. Beautiful. That'll be a big bet, though. Take the dogs. But possible upset this week, I think, would be the Giants over Philly. I don't know how good Philly is. I don't know how good Jalen Hurts is. I don't really like him. He runs too much. He's too stupid. They run the stupid play. Let's push the quarterback. Who invented that fucking play, and why are they doing it? So the quarterback gets under center. You got 2 linemen behind him, and he's going to go, and they're going to push the guy. You wonder why he hurt his shoulder. The fuck are you doing? Not only that, you telegraph the play. You put the 2 linemen back. Everybody knows he's going to sneak it, and you're going to push him. You never, ever telegraph your plays. It's like telegraphing your hand in poker. You don't do it. You always counter it. If people think I got a full house, I act nervous like I'm bluffing. If I'm bluffing, I act like I got a full house. I don't sit there and say, I got a full house or I'm bluffing. No, I don't want to show my hand. Why would you show your hand? And then why would you have your quarterback back so he can get injured? Mahomes got hurt, his knee hurts, gets his shoulder. What the fuck are you doing? You have a running back go back there. If you're going to do this, then give it to a fullback and let him run and have the guys push him. But why would you telegraph the play and just show them the play? What are you, out of your fucking mind? This is the offensive coordinators. This is the best they can do is do this play. And then they copy it. Well, we're so good for Philly. The quarterback hurt his shoulder, is out for 4 weeks. Why don't we do it? Oh, my God. What a bunch of fucking idiots. You do basketball games, playoff games I do, Gregor. You missed. I had a 50-unit lock last year. Golden State in the finals, lost game 1, and they blew that big lead, right? So now they're at home for games 1 and 2, and they're going to who was it? Toronto, and for 3 and 4, or whoever was in it. And I knew they could lose. If they lost game 2 and then had to go to Toronto for games 3 and 4, they're fucked. So I know they can't afford to lose. Backs against the wall. That's where that theory comes in nice. 50-unit lock, Golden State -4. They won by 40. And then I did it right back with Toronto. I locked them right back, and they won. And then it was Golden State in game 4. They couldn't go down 3-1. It was beauty. So the games 2, 3, and 4 were big locks. We won them all very easily. So that's how I do basketball, mostly playoffs. It's too much. I don't have time with football because football is my pride and joy. And I won't, I studied now. Here it's getting easier. There's 4 games. It takes me an hour in checking the injuries. But in a normal day, I got, 50, 60 college and 15 pro games. So it's to analyze them properly. It takes, a couple days. So I don't really have time to keep my eye on basketball. But once I'm done here and then we get into the NBA playoffs, yes, I do the NBA playoffs. I do a little baseball, mostly pitching. Mostly you value the pitcher. And if the aces are going, you bet it under. And if the 5 pitchers are going, you bet it over. It's so stupid now. They pull their pitchers way too early. The pitch count's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. It's really, baseball is really getting stupid. But so I will do some basketball, but usually the playoffs. And usually it's just backs against the wall, right? Team loses, they're down 0-2, they go home. They got to win, or they're down 3-0 and they lose the series. They usually win. Or bet the loser back. Whoever wins game 1, you bet the loser back in game 2 if it's an even series. And then you go from there. But that's how I bet basketball. But it's just every day. It's too, Then you got the back-to-backs, the 3 and 4 nights. And it's just too many, and it's fixed, and then there's injuries. So I get enough fixing to worry about with football. So my lock's posted. So I got one lock. I got one other play. And I'm trying to decipher the Philly Giant game, what to do with it. I'm leaning towards the over, but I'm not really sure because Hurts has to be ready, and I don't know if he is. He'll probably choke in the game. The Giants seem to score in the 20s. I bet Philly gets in the 20s. That's all he needs. 23-20 gives me a winner, so I'm thinking of the over there. They tend to score more in the playoffs. They tend to get a little irrational and get scared and keep scoring. Or like San Diego, stop scoring, but let the other team score. And as we pointed out, every game went over in a teaser last week, although the Baltimore and the Dallas games I would have bet under would have won. But I took Cincinnati there, and then I took Tampa, but oh well. Hard not to bet Brady as a home dog, even though the coaching sucked, but we'll see where he goes next year. Anyway, so that's it. So, definitely like Cincy is the dog and the Niners are the free pick. Take the Niners, lay 2.5. You get 2.5 points. Jesus Christ. Then you can buy more gold and silver. All right, I don't know what else to get into. Anything else from anybody? Poker, women, what? Let me know. Football is more high scoring these days because the rules and stuff. No, not necessarily. You only had a couple teams that averaged 30. You had incredibly a lot of teams that averaged less than 20 points a game, like the Bears and Atlanta. Well, no, Atlanta kind of got, but you had Houston and teams like that didn't even Indianapolis. They didn't even average 20 points a game. The problem is, per your point, Grega, is that they throw more, but you don't score more with the passing because when you get in the red zone, you need to run the ball, and they're not prepared for that. And it's easy to defense. Four wide receivers at the 10-yard line, they have nowhere to go. So it's a lot harder to score in the red zone just passing the ball. So you need running, but they're not that intelligent. You think the 49ers can pull it off, Professor, this week or the whole thing? It would be higher scoring, but too many bullshit offenses. Well, and it's all copycat. They all run the same fucking play. If you don't know what game you're watching, you see the same play. College football is more explosive offense and overs come in. Well, yeah, exactly. But you get teams like Washington and Oregon who can put up 50 points a game. And a lot of them average 40. Tennessee and Ohio State. And the thing is, when Georgia starts averaging 40 with that defense, look the fuck out. TCU averaged 40, Oak State, Baylor, Kansas Butte. They averaged 40 and gave up 40. It was fun betting them over every fucking week. But yeah, the pros, well, they just want to win. Look at last week, San Diego. If that was a college game, let's say it was UCLA and whoever Jacksonville was, say USC, do you think if UCLA got up 27-0 and it was 27-7 at the half that they wouldn't have gotten into the 50s? Fuck, what are you kidding me? They just keep going. I don't understand San Diego not keep going and switching their defense. What the fuck are they doing? Oh, we got a 27-point lead. They won't beat us? Are you insane? What the fuck is that all about? What are you talking about? They won't beat us. No, I get Trevor Lawrence sucks, but I would fire the whole coaching staff. And I hate the argument, well, if you fire them, who are you going to get? I'm going to go to TCU and grab their coach, or I'm going to go grab Georgia's coach, or I'm going to go get the kid from Oklahoma who went to USC, or I'm going to I already hired the UCLA coach, so I can't hire him. How about the Utah coach? Any of these guys know how to coach. Now you got Rule, who went from Baylor to Carolina, but he was a defensive coach. He's not the guy I want. But it is amazing how bad they look in the pros because the pros fuck over the coaches. So a guy, Rule from Baylor, had RG3. He gets to Carolina and he's stuck with Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Well, how do you expect the coach to win with that crap? But I got to blame the coach for playing Darnold. I wouldn't have played Darnold. And then my biggest bitch is these quarterbacks that run. They go back in the pocket, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, and then they run. They look to run, and they gain 10 yards, and they think that's a good play. Well, we're moving the ball. No, you're not. It means the secondary is killing you. The rush is coming. You're fucked because you can't run when you get to the 15-yard line. What are you going to do? You got to actually throw it to a guy, and you can't. And that is the problem when they try to, the running quarterback. That's the problem with the running. And then they get hurt, like Hurts and all these guys, or Lamar Jackson. Why would you pay Lamar Jackson more than $25 to be your quarterback? He wants $50 million. I'd tell him to go fuck himself. You're not worth $5 million. I don't know why every starting quarterback in the NFL makes $30 million. You've got to be kidding. You cannot say that's socialism, right? That's saying they're all equal. And there's no fucking way they're all equal. Mahomes and Herbert and and Burrow are much better than Goff and Mayfield and Fields and Lawrence and Tagliavoa. They're not even close. Why would you pay these guys? See, I don't think you'll find they won't pay Tagliavoa or Lawrence. They will not make the $30 million. They'll just let them go. That's the thing with this 5-year contract. That's bullshit too. If I was a star, I would say, no way. I'm not taking this rookie deal. I'll go play for the Yankees. I mean, I want a $20 million deal as a rookie, or give me $10 million the first year and I'm a superstar. I'm Mahomes, and then I want $25 million year 2, or I'm not going to play. I mean, it already seems like they have them under a barrel because these guys all fork it up and go, oh, I guess we better pay them. But that's what happens. So you got to be kidding. Greg, who do you think is the best coach in the NFL? Pete Carroll, I would say. He got to the playoffs with Geno Smith. Seriously? Geno Smith sucks. Coach Pete, Mike Holmgren used to be until he retired. I mean, we go back, Bill Walsh, Lombardi, of course, whatchamacallit on the Giants, and Jimmy Johnson, I thought, was the best coach. He's the GOAT. Jimmy Johnson won at Miami, comes to Dallas. Miami of Florida in college, comes to Dallas, and he wins with the Cowboys. He's the best coach because nobody else could do both. Vince Lombardi, when you watch his stuff, he actually coached basketball, and he had no idea. He never played it or coached it before. And it was like a high school, and all his teams went undefeated because he taught the fundamentals and the strategy that works in football. See, Lombardi understood you have a great defense and a running game, and he had enough with Starr was an adequate quarterback and the receivers, but it was all running the ball with Paul Hornung and defense. He understood that, and that still holds true today. That's San Francisco. Great defense. They can run the ball. If you would just stick to that, you would win the Super Bowl every year. Basically, that's what New England was doing, was playing strong defense. They never had a running attack, but they had Brady making it a running attack. Joe Montana did the same thing. They had the great defense with Ronnie Lott and those guys. And then Montana's was really more dinking. Really, Brady just stole everything from Montana. So Montana would just dink to the tight end, dink to the running back, and have these little dinks, which were really running plays, right? The back come out of the backfield, hit some, he gains 5 yards. That's a running play. That's what the Niners did, but they had that strong Ronnie Lott defense. The Bears did it in 85 with that fucking defense that was unbelievable, and Walter Payton. And then the Giants did it with Parcells and Lawrence Taylor. And they ran the ball. They didn't. Phil Simms sucked. And Jimmy Johnson did it with Emmett. And that's the recipe to win. So where's the best defense? Right now, the best defense is San Francisco. And I would say the second best. Well, see, Buffalo with Von Miller, but without him, they don't have it. So I'd say Cincinnati and Dallas are probably the next best. So the Niners with the Packer defense, they run the ball with McCaffrey and a receiver, and then he can throw enough. So it's like Packer football, right? I got a great defense. I can run. And by the way, my quarterback can hit the tight end. He can hit the receivers, Deebo Samuel. So we can run Deebo Samuel, and we can run McCaffrey, and we can throw to him. A lot of dinks out of the backfield. Good luck stopping that, and the defense to boot. That's why the Packers won five championships in 7 years, and that's what teams that are like that win every time. That's why the Marinos didn't win. They went off formula. They didn't have a defense. They didn't run the ball, was all Marino passing. Dan Faust did the same thing. That's why they never won. You've got to have the defense because that shows up and that stops the other team. If you don't have that, you're fucked. That's the first thing I look for. Why do I like the Niners over Dallas? Because they got the best defense in the league. That's why. And they have a good offense and they can run the ball. That's why the Niners are going to beat Dallas. Then you look at Dallas has a shitty quarterback and a terrible coach. So if I look at the best coach, I'm not a big Shanahan fan. He choked with Atlanta. I don't know the Cincinnati coach. I don't like the Buffalo coach because you don't run your quarterback. Philadelphia, I never heard of the coach. The Giants, I never heard of their coach. Andy Reid sucks. And then Jacksonville's coach, Peterman, was okay at Philadelphia, nothing special. Why don't I like Andy Reid? Because he choked 4 times with Philadelphia. Then he choked with Kansas City. Finally, Mahomes wins him the Super Bowl, dancing around, and then he loses the next Super Bowl to Tampa. So Andy Reid is like 1-20 in Super Bowl or playoff games. He's not – the only reason he's good now is he's got Mahomes. If you didn't have Mahomes, Andy Reid sucks. So Andy Reid is not the all-end-all coach. It's like saying Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. He's not. He sucks. He can't handle the blitz. Tennessee blitzed him. He didn't even complete a pass the last quarter and a half of that game because they blitzed him and he was there in the headlights. That's why San Diego got away from the blitz. I couldn't believe it. The fuck you doing? And you'll watch KC. I bet you our friend, I love their defensive coordinator, what's his name, Stenerud or whatever, Spagnolia. I'll bet anybody here he's going to dial up 20 blitzes on Lawrence, and he'll do shit. Now, I am a little worried about getting my over, but I think KC will score enough for me. But they're going to blitz the hell out of Lawrence, and you're going to see all these little short incompletions. Or it's like he doesn't understand when he's getting blitzed. That's what I don't like about him. Not anybody can hit a guy for 20 yards wide open. He's a great quarterback. No, it's when you read the blitz. When you're in the red zone, do you make the right calls? Do you make the right audibles? He can't do it. He can't read the blitz, and he can't get out of the blitz. That's why I don't like those guys. So I'd say the best coach is Pete Carroll. And the rest of them are a bunch of garbage coaches. I do not like Belichick. He's so great, but without Brady, he can't even make the playoffs. So I don't buy Belichick. Brady, it was all Brady. Brady makes the playoffs with fucking Tampa. He wins the Super Bowl with Tampa. Belichick loses Brady, and how many years has he missed the playoffs? They don't even look like a good team. With Brady, it was like, okay, they're laying 7. I'll tease it down to 1. Now with Mac Jones, I bet against them. I had Buffalo against them in that week, the clinching week. Buffalo's 8.5. I go down to 2.5. They win 35-23. And then and that's it. New England's out. But that's why I like the over in the Cincinnati game. Buffalo plays New England, who has no offense, 35-23. They give up 23 to fucking Jones. They play a 58, and here they got Cincinnati with Burrow. You know Burrow's going to light them up. That's where the logic comes in, is you're looking for like-type teams, and that's what you have. So if they couldn't stop New England and fucking Miami, Buffalo 34, Miami 31 with Skylar Thompson, you think they're shutting out Cincinnati? They couldn't stop Skylar fucking Thompson. Now they get Joe Burrow. Do you think they're going to shut him out without Von Miller? What are you, out of your mind? That's probably the best bet on the board is either Cincinnati or Cincinnati over. I can't decide. I like them both. And then you got the Niners low. So, I mean, that's really where the logic comes in, as you're looking at other compartments to get to what this is. So you use history to get to what you think the team is and what you think they'll do. That's what betting is the, as I've talked in other videos, is the outcome, the perceived outcome. That's what you're trying to figure out, is the perceived outcome. I can't get the perceived outcome in the Philly Giant game because it hurts. But I can get you the perceived outcome in the Niner game, in the KC game, and in the Cincinnati game. Based on what I see, gives you the perceived outcome. That's what we bet on. That's how we pick the games. That's what separates me from all the other moron BetMGM guys. Is they don't even have a perceived outcome. They look at the line going, oh, it's 3.5. I'll take the 3.5. I don't know who's playing, but it's over 3, so I'm going to bet on them. Wow. Okay, keep listening to those morons, and you won't have any money left. So basically, it's the same thing I'm doing with inflation. The perceived outcome of you inflating is gold and silver, especially getting into physical. The perceived outcome of gold going to a physical market is $50,000 an ounce. The perceived outcome of gold staying in the derivative market is $2,200. But we're getting away from that, going because China and Russia want the physical. So the perceived, if we carry that forward, is for a huge revaluation of gold and silver because they want it and they need it. They want to get away from the American dollar. They are both broke and they both have a ton of gold. So they both need their gold to go up. And we know how the Russians are with money. They value that above all else. And I'm sure the Chinese aren't far behind. So they need the price of gold to go up. So we're going for the ride. But that's what this whole thing, that's what the whole life's all about, is perceived outcome. You meet a girl, you look at her, you see how she looks at you, the perceived outcome. She'll go out with you or she won't. That's what you're looking for. You talk to her and you see if it's worth to take her out. It depends if she's an idiot or not. But you're using looks to get to the, to the next step. Does she look pretty? Oh, she doesn't look pretty. You're just saying goodbye. Who's next? Now she's pretty. Is she a bitch or is she friendly? And then you go from there. So it works that way in everything. Inflation, money, economics, everything goes back to economics. And then football or basketball, it's the same analysis. It's perceived outcome based on past events. So if Buffalo beats Miami 34-31, they don't have a defense. Chances are Buffalo-Cincinnati is going to be a fucking high score. Same thing, Frisco-Dallas. You perceive that Frisco is much the better team. They're going to kill Dallas because we've seen Prescott choke in big games. We've seen McCartney can't coach. He had Aaron Rodgers for 10 years, and he couldn't do anything with him. What's he going to do with Dak Prescott? So the Niner defense will come, and it's funny how many times Dallas and Frisco has played in the 70s. Then we had them in the 90s. The 81, the Montana catch game was Dallas-Frisco. That was the first time Frisco actually got back at Dallas, and they got them good, and then they pounded them, and then that was it for Dallas. They couldn't recover for 10 years after the catch. And then in the 90s, you had those great games. Steve Young choking in a way. They never should have got rid of Montana. It was a huge mistake. I can't believe they did that. And here they come again, Dallas, Frisco. This year, Frisco's better. Frisco owes them, so we'll look at that. But again, the expected outcome, again, Dallas, Frisco in a playoff game. Just amazing. Anyway, so that's what we do. That's what we look at. But we understood that's what you need to do is how do I arrive at the expected outcome is the key. That's where you dig in. You look at the variables. That's why I say you can't do this with the math formula because you can't put in all the variables to get to the expected outcome. You need to understand it. You need to feel it and live it. That's the difference. And you've got to, I've been doing this since the mid 70s. I can feel the game. I know what's going to happen before the games. That's because I can see, I take the history to get to the future. Most people don't have a clue what I'm doing. So that's really the difference. But again, when people are looking at inflation and gold, what are they doing? They're looking at expected outcome. They're going back to 2008, thinking it's the same game, but it's not. That was a totally different game. We got inflation, and that was just the housing market crash. This is inflation, and we got the BRICS countries. So there's differences in the game. Sort of like if I said, well, this is the catch game. This is Montana against, Drew Pearson for Dallas, right? But it's not. Danny White's not the quarterback, and, Tom Landry's not the coach. So I can't say, well, look at what happened with Dallas and Frisco in 81. Montana beat them on the cap. Well, you don't have Montana on the field. You don't have anybody on the field. So you can't just plug in a name, Dallas Frisco, and say that's what's going to happen. Then you go up to Jimmy Johnson. I don't have Jimmy Johnson coaching here. They fucking wish they had Jimmy Johnson coaching. And they don't have Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin. Troy Aikman I do not like. And then who does Frisco got? They don't have, Steve Young, but I think Purdy's better than Steve Young. Steve Young was a choke just like Prescott. Just his reaction of getting the monkey off my back is about all you need to know about Steve Young. He's a fucking loser. So that's what you got here is you can't look at an old Dallas Frisco game to get the outcome of this game. You just look at what Frisco's been doing and you really look at the defense, and that's how you get the expected outcome here. You don't go back 5 years. You look at it, what it is now. So you can't go back to 2008 and see what happened with gold on a derivative market and then say, well, that's what it's going to be without understanding that it's going physical, and derivatives aren't physical. It's apples and oranges. That's my complaint with half these morons is they don't understand derivative from physical, and they don't understand this isn't 2008 and you got heavy inflation and you got the BRICS countries. So there's 18 other variables that weren't in play in 08. So why would you say what happened in 08 has got anything to do with now? So that's my point of view. Anyway, anything else? I think we covered 82 subjects as normal. So anyway, when will it happen, Bobby? I don't know. I cannot give you a date, but we know why, and we know that the Russian-Ukraine war is going to be the excuse. Oh, the Russian war. That's why we have inflation. That's why prices are up. Oh, look, prices are coming down. Inflation's dropping. Inflation ain't dropping. There's no way. I mean, because it's not prices, it's printing. That's where you really get it is people think it's the prices and they go, oh, the prices are down. And you're like, that's not inflation. So what the fuck are you talking about? You're still printing the money. The money's the cause of printing the money is the cause of the inflation, and the inflation, not the prices. So if the prices went down to even, that doesn't mean inflation's gone, but people will think it is, and they're fucking everybody over because it's not. That's not what it is, but that's what the game they're going to tell you. Oh, SEC, no, Bernie Madoff's fine. Don't worry, he's absolutely legitimate. Yeah, and how many people lost their ass and killed themselves because Madoff fucked them over, even though the SEC said everything's fine. That's what you have here. Oh, inflation's fine. Look at the prices are even. That's not inflation. You're fucking everybody over like you did with Madoff because you want to keep the scam going. So that's really the problem. So they'll make it sound like inflation's dead when it's not dead. You keep printing, and you can't print it forever to zero. So you keep buying your gold and silver because you know what they're doing is wrong, and you know you're right, and you know at the end the Madoff scam will blow up and the dollar will blow up and your gold and silver is going to go to the moon. You know that's what's going to happen. You just do not know when. But as long as you are smart and you understand that's what's happening, you just keep going with it. You're going, fuck, I'll buy more silver. I'll buy more gold because I know at the end, when the shit hits the fan, and it will, I'm fine. And I'll be really happy I just kept going with it. And that's my point. Just don't fuck around. Just keep going. You can buy $28 an ounce silver. Just keep buying it as much as you can. You can't lose. And then, okay, I need money. You go back to the store, you go on eBay, you sell it. I'll give you your money back. There's no risk. I mean, it's not like it's going to be worth $5. It's not like a stock that like Tesla where it's $200 a share. Now it's $100 because they can't sell a fucking electric car at $50,000 because nobody wants it. So it's not like you're holding a stock that will go down. This is much better. There is no risk. This is silver. You got money. You can't lose on it. At worst case, you just trade it back in for the dollars if you need it. The longer you don't need it, the better it is for you, as you just eventually it goes way, way up and you're very happy. But the idiot at the coin store saying, well, when the block hits 30, I'll that you won't see it there anymore. And I'm going, it's already at 1,000, dude. Like, you're a fucking running a gold store and you're that stupid. So, I just laugh at the guy. Really, you can't get too frustrated. You just know they're idiots. They're not idiots. They just don't understand and know what's going. They don't know economics. So you don't really want to. It's not like they're idiots on purpose. The problem is they don't want to learn what's really going on. So they believe what people tell them, and that's all they do. And that's the problem. You got to know who to believe, who's telling you, and they got to have background and they got to have explanation. That's what I do. If I'm teaching you how to believe somebody's telling you the truth, they better come at you the way I come at you. Very confident, and I know what I'm talking about, and I give you the answers, and I give you the details. So when I'm done with you, you go, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what you want. That's how you trust somebody. And if somebody's telling you Bitcoin's going to go up because it's going to go up, and they can't give you an answer, they're out of their minds. And just like if you think, somebody comes out with a game and they say, well, I took this game, you better come at me with why, not just, I don't want to score. And I don't really want to know what you bet. I want to know, who do you think is going to win the game, and give me reasons. You're not going to change my mind, because I don't make up my mind until I know, like I don't have my mind made up on Philly and the Giants. So you can't change my mind there. I don't have it made. I do have it made on Cincinnati and San Francisco, and you're not going to change it, because I've already analyzed it and I've come to that conclusion. And there's nothing you're going to say to get me off the conclusion. The Giants, Philly, you can tell me your points, and maybe I'll go, that makes sense. And yeah, the defense, and okay, maybe I'll take Philly, but I'm not quite sure Philly's going to win. The way they play, and they had the bye, that bye kills a lot of teams. So I'm not confident Philly's this wonderful team. Hurts as your quarterback's going to kill you. These running quarterbacks. So I'm not really sold on Hurts. He's no Montana. He's no, he's no Marino. He's not a winner. So if you put Lawrence Taylor on Philadelphia, then I would have bet Philadelphia. I don't know. They got the one guy from Georgia, so I do like Philly for that. But I got to see how they play. But even if they beat the Giants don't have a quarterback. That's where I'm banking on. The Niners can beat Philadelphia if they get them, right? They'll be a very live dog. Just like Cincy KC, Cincinnati has the complete team. You got Burrow, you got Chase, you got the defense. I'll take him as a dog against anybody. Even Georgia. Georgia would probably beat him, though. Well, that's about it. Anything else, fellas? All right. Have a nice day. www.teaserking.com. Free pick, San Francisco over Dallas. Take the 2.5 points, 3 points, whatever you can get. I got a lock going, and I got another teaser posted. The only thing I'm waiting on is what to do with Philly and the Giants. I might play that very small, but I haven't decided yet. Anyway, that's about it. So have a good day. Buy your gold and silver. Bobby, I expect more gold from you. All right. Have a nice day. www.teaserking.com. I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same bat station, about 12 o'clock ish. And that's it. All right. Have a great day, everybody.